Everybody ready? Ready to pledge?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Morning, everybody. We'll have to leave that door open, man.
Yeah, I just got it cracked here, so.
Yeah, otherwise, yeah, it's not a close meeting. Sorry. Well. State your name.
My name is Mike Klarchik, Chairman of the Board of Health Committee. I don't know if that's an accurate description. I am very following parliamentary procedure, apologize for that. I
Granite County Commissioner's Office.
I don't know, I got a call, I don't know what's wrong with that phone.
Granite County Commissioner's Office.
I don't know what's wrong with that. Yeah, there is, I'll call them.
Okay, sorry.
I did see that we had a letter that was circulated.
Can you see who it is, you know? Can you see who it is?
It is. Right here. Wireless caller, while it's saying. Granite County Commissioner's Office.
I don't know.
Maybe we should unplug it. Because it doesn't work. Unless you guys want to push the button.
Okay, go ahead, sorry.
It looks like there was a Board of Health cooperative agreement that we need to make a decision on, sign.
I have it in front of me.
Okay.
Do you need to look at it?
I did review it over
Okay.
on my iPad. I don't have any questions with it. You know, I would open the board for discussion if there is any questions or problems that people see with it. Other than that, I think they're,
Chad, can
I can explain just what it is too, if you like. Sure, so what that is, that cooperative agreement is between Department of Public Health and Human Services and each health entity in the state, whether it's a county, tri-county jurisdiction. And basically what it is it says that the local health entities, sanitarians will do the inspections. They'll get reimbursed for them by the state. So, and we do that every single year, for better or worse. I wish they'd do it on a 3 or 5 year or something cycle, but they do it every single year. So we've done this every single year. And basically it just says for every inspection we do, they will pay Granite County and then they pay that on quarterly. So.
Go ahead, entertain.
go ahead. Yeah, no, please. Help me out here.
His name. Ask for a motion.
Ask for a motion that we approve the letter as written. Other than that, you know, if there's any discussion.
I'll move to approve the letter written.
All in favor?
You need a second.
All,
I'll second it.
oh, okay. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Oh, we have a public comment from Elena.
Go ahead, Elena.
Thank you. I'm looking at the agenda. It says elect a chairperson, discussion and decision as the first item. And then there's approval of minutes. And the fourth item is what I think you just did. The update, cooperative agreement. Now I don't see where this information, the documents for this, for these meetings are. I don't see them. The letter,
with the commissioners. They were posted with the commissioners' meeting documents and they were mailed out with the agenda.
oh, okay. Just another comment. This is the Granite County Board of Health. Okay, it is not the Granite County Commissioners. They should be distinct each other. There should have been a public notice about this. I didn't see any. And there should be something separate, not combined with the Granite County Commissioners documents. Thank you.
We're on board.
Yes.
So,
Yeah, we've always conducted the Board of Health meeting prior to the commissioners meeting.
yes.
So comment, it was decided that we would go ahead and do this when we're doing it quarterly and that we do have an agenda in front of us. And this is the Granite County Board of Health agenda. And yeah, we did not follow it precisely. Sorry.
And that is, yeah, that is my fault. I didn't have the agenda in front of me and, you know, I came with the meeting and, you know. Yeah. So, yeah, I do apologize to the public for that.
Okay.
If we're not following the form of the letter.
Says here now, but I don't Board of Health, that'd be him.
So that cooperative.
Sign here.
Sign.
Chad, oh, Michael, or here, Michael Clarchik signs it. Have Chad show you where to sign. There's lots of.
He signs up here as well.
I did see this online.
Yep. Yeah. And then the simple.
As far as the other topics on the committee, it would tickle me pink to have somebody else be the chairperson of the Board of Health. There again, I have very poor parliamentary procedure ethics, so,
You're fine.
you know, it just, whatever we need to do is. Maybe, but.
I nominate you.
I nominate Chad.
He's not a member. He's not a member.
How about you, Ashley? Are you online?
Ashley's not with
Oh.
us today. You could nominate her with her not being here.
Unless you want to be chairman. We think you do an awesome job and, yeah.
We'll just keep on struggling through the, and I would.
I'll nominate myself.
Okay.
Okay.
I will be chairman.
So
of the
will
Granite
you
County Board of Health
Need
agenda.
to call her.
If you all would
Email her
approve
this.
I approve.
I second
Yeah, I second it.
I third
Yes.
Okay,
All in favor?
I,
so does that mean I take it over?
yes, ma'am.
And we'll try to follow the agenda precisely. So the next item on the agenda is approval of the minutes, discussion.
I move to approve the minutes.
We have them in front of us and. This is the way we've all done, we have a meeting, we approve them then. Nice, second.
Any public comment? All in favor?
I,
So next on the agenda is with our local health officer update with Dr. Khan. I see you're on here.
She is on and she should be able to unmute if she is available.
We're waiting for Dr. Khan to unmute herself. Is that what we're doing?
Yeah, she may have a patient though. I know she,
Oh, okay.
you may have to come back to her.
We've done that before, jumped over when she's busy and just.
Yeah.
Okay, so apparently Dr. Khan is not available at this moment. We can go back to her. And so the next agenda item is from the Granite County Sanitarian with his report, Thad Lannis.
Sure, so the last quarter, the septic stuff is obviously slowed down, but I do have, KLM contracting in particular has done a couple of septic systems in Granite County and Willamette border still. So we have people still doing that. We do have a subdivision that's in the works, out in Arrowstone. Mark's been doing his food inspections still like usual. And of course, the big topic, our trailer in Drummond. I've been in contact with our contractor. He just finished up the work that he was doing in Drummond for the fire hall last week. We sort of played a little tag back and forth, try to meet on site, and we're gonna try to meet on site this week. So that he knows exactly the place and all the circumstances. I had sent him all the requirements.
Yes.
I think we better get a notification to Bob to tell him if people are renting or quit parking there, because when they come,
Okay, yeah.
they got cars parked under that tree and stuff, and then we're gonna try, we don't want to hold and get them up.
Yep, undoubtedly, yeah, so what my intentions are, to meet-
Howard, I see that line still going there, so you wanna make sure, I guess that's a road road, but I just wanna make sure.
yeah, he's able to do his job efficiently and quickly, so. Yeah, I intend on meeting him on the site and we'll talk to Bob at the same time. Ensure that, all the conditions that John needs to be able to do the job right, or Bob can help get out and meet that.
Proof of insurance and stuff.
Yep,
And
that's
this is on the update on the trailer in Drummond. This is
Correct.
We're discussing. Okay.
Yeah, so, yep, his, John Grossvold's, daughter Lacey is the office person and I'm in contact with her as far as the documentation stuff too.
Be nice if they could get on it now where the ground's frozen, it'll clean up a lot better.
Yeah,
'Cause
yeah,
If we get some more before that crap over, right, I mean, it just is gonna see.
It's gonna be a mess, so yeah, with any luck, he was intending, I believe, on trying to do it this week and next week, so it should happen here fairly soon, so.
Just so I end up having to go back in there and try to fix all the ground. 'Cause I don't know if it's the old septic or what.
Yeah.
And we did discuss earlier than we should have the cooperative agreement between Montana DPHHS. We all agreed to accept it. Do we need to redo this and make a new motion because we did it ahead of schedule? Okay, is there a motion?
Yeah, I make a motion to accept the letter of the.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any public comment?
No.
Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so our next item on the agenda is the Granite County Public Health Report with Lauren Bolton. Come on up, Lauren.
Good morning, everybody.
You want to state your name?
Lauren Bolton, Public Health Director. For the record, and I'd just like to say, I'm happy that somebody else's struggles with the meeting procedures do, because I don't do a very good job with it either. Okay, so I will give a quick update on all the public health programs. First, our WIC program, October through December, we had 14 visits, which is really exciting because the WIC program previously really wasn't up and running over here in Granite County. So Jackie's doing a really good job at recruiting people, and Deb has mentioned that they've been getting a lot more calls for WIC people, and a lot of people who previously had to either travel to Missoula or Anaconda are being able to be seen in Granite County.
On that note, then we don't have a vendor that they can go to locally to get their WIC supplies. They have to go out of town.
They still have to go out of town. However, with the increase of visits and people here in the county that are accessing with benefits, I do think it could be something in the future that would, make it worth having a vendor.
Is this something that we could maybe call the vendor, maybe you could call and say, hey, we have 14 people, this is going to be profitable for you to accept the WIC program?
Didn't we try that before and they were kind of a little upset with us calling them and asking them about it, because they said if we want to do it, we'll do it, you know, we don't want to be kind of forced into it. Remember we got. I just, I
No,
mean,
right.
I think we, oh, I guess I know it, we kind of.
Yeah, well, I think Deb had kind of had some conversations. The problem is they have to carry a certain amount of stock for each formula. And if there's not enough people purchasing formula, I think they have to have on their shelves at any given time, it's either 6 or 8 cans. And there's like 8 different kinds of formulas. And so if there's not enough people, it's just a waste of money for them.
I think that's why they come back and then it was like, you know, it's just that few that probably better off to go to a bigger town where they have more to pick from.
Yeah.
I'm not speaking for them, but I know we talked.
Well, and I know, Deb had, she asked her clients, what's, barriers to getting things and whatnot. And people have just kind of made it a part of their routine when they are going to Missoula and do those things. The nice thing is for these moms, previously they would go to Missoula and they would have the kiddos and, with them. And that's when they do their shopping because the kiddos had to be there for the WIC visit. And now they don't have the WIC visit, so they can figure out childcare and go by themselves. So I think some of them actually enjoy that. But yeah, that's something that is definite, we have talked about. And as the program picks up, and we're also, asking the participants, what their preference is, and so. I think as it gets bigger, I think. the
And it's
conversation will-
understandable what you're saying, if they have to stock their shelves senselessly and no one's going to
Yeah,
buy that product, then yeah, I can understand completely. I mean, not knowing that, that's why I felt that we could pursue that and that. But yeah, you don't want to step on people's toes.
yeah, it's tough. I wish it was something that they could do, but the
Yeah.
WIC requirements have them kind of backed into a corner there, but yeah, WIC's going great. Last quarter, we did 64 vaccinations and received about $7,500 worth of payments for vaccinations back to the county, so that's good. Area 5 provided 645 hours of companionship to clients. I think they have a client load teetering anywhere from 19 to 22. It just kind of goes back and forth. And we just started working closely with Shannon Martell, the community health worker, to kind of coordinate services for individuals. And we were running into some, issues with individuals who maybe need a higher level of care beyond what Area 5 can provide. And so I think Shannon will be really great for that because she has that connection to the hospital. So hopefully we can get those people connected to services. Let's see, Beth, just updating plans that need to be approved by the LEPC before they come to the Board of Health. Most notably, it's called a promulgation document. And essentially that's what will be signed instead of the actual plan. So it will just be a 1-page document that we will submit to the PET program. And then for tobacco, Amanda has been holding art classes at the Drummond School, I think on Wednesdays. And that's something that she's been doing in all of the counties and has been very successful as an alternate activity for youth. And just new, Deb will be picking up some of the tobacco work over here in Granite County. So she'll be over here for Mondays and Wednesdays, and we'll be able to do some tobacco work there. But that's it.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Lauren. Is Dr. Khan available? Yeah, probably not.
Yep, I'm here. Sorry, I was trying to get it turned back on.
Dr. Khan. If you wanted to go ahead and give us an update.
Hey think the only specific update we've dealt with recently is with regard to the trailer. Otherwise, there haven't been any significant changes.
Hey, thank you. Looks like we have went through our agenda. You have, yeah, yes, thank
I
you.
got a couple things for the Board of Health that I
Okay,
wanted to bring up. Last week I went with Jackie down to Beaver Tail. It's yesterday, they were opening up a new recovery center. It's up, you turn and go up Beaver Tail, it's up the road about 3 miles, it's kind of secluded there. And Windy Tire's running it, and there was probably, I don't know, close to 60, 70 people there. But we got to walk through and look at each room, and it's an alcohol and drug recovery place, so that's gonna be something. You know, it's in Missoula County, but it's kind of a split there, but it was really interesting and pretty cool to see what they had going. They were talking like 55 people yesterday were coming. They were hoping to get it up to the state level of 75 or something like that, so.
People live there.
There's people that live up the draw, and Jackie knows the person, and they were concerned about what was this and that, and there's a security, it's security, and it's well. They'll be okay.
oh,
Just
Sorry.
wondering, yeah, sorry.
What was the name of the facility?
It's a recovery centers, shoot, I had the pamphlet and I left it lay, yeah, you can call Jackie, she has a pamphlet.
Okay.
And, it was really, we spent all morning down there for like 3 hours listening and going through the stuff, and it's for 18-year-olds and up, so really good idea. They got another place in Columbia Falls too, or somewhere, but they're trying to get this one here, it's done. And they already got all kinds of people offering to work there.
And it's a voluntary rehab?
Yeah.
Nice.
And it's medics, it's something covered by medic. I get them mixed up. And the other thing I wanted to put out a very big thanks to, I went to the basketball game the other night and they had an Alzheimer's. They brought up stuff like that, and they were there handing stuff out, and all week was Purple Week, and I want to put a big thank you to everybody on that, that was pretty cool too. So,
Where was that?
they had it at the Drummond Billsburg football or basketball game, and Yogi Overwiser, Jackie, and then a couple other people, I don't know their name, but they were all there and they were handing stickers and stuff out, and just to recognize Alzheimer's, what you can do, and what you know. It was really awesome. So I'm putting a big thank you for that.
that would be a good place to have it, good turnout.
It was good, and then they did stuff at the school during the week, and if they wore purple, they got stuff, and it was, it was a good week, I just did a lot of work, and I thought it turned out good.
There anything else?
I was just gonna say, there's lots more to say, but I don't wanna take up a bunch of time.
If you got something on either one of them, that's up to Clarence, right?
What's that?
Oh, I was just saying, I have lots of stuff to say about what's been going on in the community. Other than the numbers, if you guys wanna hear it, but
Well, we have a projected adjournment at 9:20. And so we'd be starting, it's up to chairman, I think we're.
If you got something quick, go ahead.
Well, I just wanna-
I just assume hear what she has, that's why we do it.
Say that again.
If she's got something she can give quick, I'd like to
Okay.
do it.
super quick, just some things that happened, just for your information. The purple out I was going to mention, Jackie does attend those meetings, Alzheimer meetings monthly. Okay, and then just October, we had a speaker come into the schools, Dr. Heather DeBlasi, that gave information on vaping, marijuana, and bullying. And in November, we had a vaccination clinic at Hebron School, which was pretty successful, so I think we'll continue to do that. And then most notably, in December, the public health staff attended the active shooter tabletop that Jackie had arranged. And there were, I think there were probably 25 people out in the community that were there, and I just want to say that that is one of the best tabletops that I have ever attended. It was really great. The cooperation between law enforcement and the schools was awesome, and the conversations that came out of it were great, so just want to put a plug in for that.
Thank
That's
you,
all.
Lauren.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Any other comments? Anyone want to make a motion?
I entertain a motion, or, no, wait a minute, I'll make a motion that we
Adjourn? Okay, any second?
I second.
All right.
thank you,
Granite County
everybody.
Board of Health agenda has been, we're adjourned.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you, Dr. Khan. Thank everybody.
Good job.
Yeah. Thank you. Chairperson.
Yeah, well, I was waiting for John and then he called. Around
Yeah.
around the holidays, well, getting close, and then he called last week. He's, you know, he's a contractor, so
Okay.
things not necessarily timely. So, but I'm gonna stay with it.
All right, thanks. All right, we're gonna move on to the commissioner's agenda, 9:20. Board minutes for January 10th.
I'll move to accept the minutes. Last week.
Okay, I'll second it.
Public comment. Being none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. The next one will be correspondence. The first one from the Lolo revision team out of Fort Missouri, Lolo National Forest. Next one's an advertisement from.
So is this, sorry, is this anything that we have to take action on? It's an invitation.
No, but down the line, it's one of these that we're gonna need to try to get a hold of the national boards and see what their plans are, because we haven't talked in for a couple, 3 years now. They just redid some people, so I think we need to get a hold and get them tried on and get them maybe. So. Next one's the Marine and Mike Mansfield Center out of the University of Montana, some advertising stuff, a little news thing.
We're stamped out.
Oh, yeah. Okay, the next one from Hinkle at Blackfoot.net
Or no, that one's the email from Rick McGill.
from Rick McGill.
So this email that he sent to you concerning junk vehicle program, probably discuss it during
That.
the agenda item.
Yeah, if
Okay.
we can sign it, that no one that's correspondence come in there and bring it up and pop out of it. Being that, that's all the correspondence, any comment on correspondence. Okay, now we're in a public comment. Caught up kind of. Public comment. Yeah, that down there, when we went down there, they had everybody, I know it, but it was pretty cool at the Recovery Center. They got all kinds of social workers, and they start out like at 7 or 8 in the morning, and they got classes you go to, and you work through, and then you stop for lunch, and you go back in, and they have different places you go, I think they got it done. They-
So how is it
District-
funded?
You know, they said, I can't remember, it's some kind of a big thing they went after and they got it. They're redoing that, place used to be for problem kids that had problems and it kind of went away because the funding left or something. Now they've been in there redoing all their built for that.
So it's on Missoula side, Missoula County.
Yeah, we thought Jackie asked what I wanted to go and just see what it was pretty interesting. They'll have people there to distribute medicine and stuff. It's pretty well set up. It's gonna be nice.
What goes on every day of the week.
Yep, it's, they gotta, you go in there, you're going, you can leave whenever you want. But it's like up to 30 to 35 days that they hope you stay. And then they can recommend you to stay longer, or, when you go through your classes and get evaluated, you might have to stay, or they might say, well, I think you need to stay a little longer. And then it's paid through all the Medicaid. So, and there's other insurances that pay that stuff, so I think it's a good deal, it's just. Said they have a woman's one in Columbia Falls. And this is just for guys, no women, and that's just guys right now. Cause I think, cause they're just getting set up and with their security and. Cause they go, when you go to a class, they walk there, and they have somebody, a supervisor takes them to this. One, and then the next one might be 12 steps or 8, whatever, they just go all every day.
But
They have
for all ages, for all ages.
18 and up. So some of these that people get in trouble in jail or something, and they can recommend them, they go there and, try to get help there, and then they'll help them when they get done. To go out and find a job and stuff, so, yeah, it was really good. Wendy, like I said, Wendy Dyer, she's running and, she's on the ball, good. Any public comment? This is up in minutes. This probably correspondence, this Hogan's.
Okay,
Certificate. We put that in an order. Here,
okay,
this
yeah,
Account application, I think we need to put on there like Janine and, the weed crew, I don't know if they got their own on this. I don't know if Hogan's in that out for the weed crew, but they probably should have their own.
have the weed crew have their own account.
Yeah, cause I mean, we don't.
Well, the one thing is, let's see.
I don't know. It's staff,
Oh, yeah, never mind.
We gotta send out back.
Oh, okay, so
I just don't know if each, like Janine or some other.
can. I wonder if, because there's lots of people that order from Hogan's. And so it wouldn't be. Would we put Granite County employees or Granite County department heads or?
Well, I think so, cause I mean, like the road crew, they walk over and get stuff when the word comes out, and that, what I mean. Here we go again, if Paul ain't right there to tell them it's our over and get it.
Yeah.
And they're standing around, so I mean, I know. We just went through, this is where little things are gonna come into effect that. But it still goes back on the charging, Paul goes through each one of them, that was the whole deal, we said, you go through each one of the road crew stuff, so we know, so. I guess it,
Well, this would be something they could. Department heads and they could call the clerk and recorder's office. And or the clerk and recorder's office can put a list in of the department heads that can actually call an order from now. I mean, if they want people, a list of people that can, which. Yeah, department heads,
Yeah, it's,
yeah,
if they gotta wait around.
a lot of them you'll see on the claims there, I go through Bolton's pretty close along with like. Pipe and stuff, to fix a sander or a water truck, they just run and get something that's. Still waiting, so I mean, I'm not trying to go back on what we've already approved, but I guess it just comes down to Paul's I really watch.
well, that's the department head's responsibility, so
Sounds good.
it's
I just thought I'd bring that up, so.
here.
Alrighty, thank you. No, We're gonna jump into Carrie Hatcher to discuss insurance options for road maintenance agreement discussion and decision. Are you Carrie?
I am.
All right, come up, state your name and what you're bringing.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Kerry Hatcher. I live at 33 Stewart Lake Road. For those of you that don't know exactly where that's at, because if you pull it up on Google, it doesn't appear after 4 years, it still doesn't appear. It's right just south of the water tank, heading up towards Stewart Lake. So, the reason I'm here is, a while back, I had a conversation with Paul Holt. I should tell you this, approximately 4 years ago, my wife and I built a brand new home up there. And we have no expectation as far as relying on that county to provide any road maintenance at all. We've never contacted the county and asked them to do anything. However, to the contrary, I called up Paul probably about 7 or 8 months ago, and I mentioned to him that over the last few years, I've put on north of probably $10,000 worth of gravel on the road from 7th Street to our driveway. I've graded it, I allowed the snow, and I said, in the process, there's a culvert up there that had collapsed, and it was in bad need of replacement. And then there was a cattle guard up there as well that my plow would often be hooked up on it. And so I called him up and asked him if I could remove it myself, wasn't asking the county to do it. Because I said, I have the tractor, I can go ahead and do it myself, and he said that he'd look into it, but more than likely the county was gonna take care of it, and they did, and I appreciate that. They were like over up there and they brought in a bunch of gravel as well, and smooth the road much better. My tractor's not getting hooked up on it, so thank you. Paul also suggested that I consider doing the road maintenance agreement, which I did. I submitted one, and I've been in contact with Bill throughout this process, and we were gone for a period of time, and then when I came back, I hadn't heard back from the county, so I resubmitted another one, and then I believe that you would reviewed it, and I appreciate that, thank you. One of the primary reasons, the issues with that road maintenance agreement is your requirement of basically making the county an insured on a separate insurance policy. I think they're the minimum requirement of $1.5 to $2 million. I reviewed it. And by the way, I use a tractor, not a pickup, because that's where my problems kind of exist, where others may not. I checked with our local insurance agent, Granite Insurance Company, and she got back to me and she said, it's going to be expensive. And I said, well, what's expensive? And last week I talked with her and she said it's going to be $5,000 to get that policy. Now I suspect I might be able to find a cheaper policy, but I'm certain it's probably going to be expensive. Me, that kind of rubbed me wrong. I'm gonna be honest with you, because for the last 4 years, I've not equipped in the county anything. In fact, I've done all the road gates work, and in fact, I've had a number of local people even comment, how did you get the county to bring gravel up there? Well, it wasn't the county, it was my wife and I that bought the gravel. We probably hauled 20 to 25 10-yard truck loads up there on that road. Another issue that I feel associated with that road that's created some problems for us is the sign. It says no, if you remember, there's a sign up there right there by 7th Street that says no regular road maintenance beyond this sign. UPS won't drive up that road because of that sign, which that's their prerogative, but I can assure you, at least in the last 4 years, that road has been maintained quite well. We were able to convince FedEx to riding up there, and they've now ride up there because they agree. I sand that hill as well. We got one first hill that's kind of a steep part, and it's difficult to get up there. I mentioned to you, and so that I was hoping also maybe get some clarification here too. We're right in front of the city water supply, one of the 2 major tanks. And what also kind of prompted my visit today was just to find out what are your emergency preparedness road priority decisions, and frankly, in light of your recent decision for the Black Pine Road. I thought, we have 11 homes up here. We have 4 families that live up there year round. We have 2 families that have kids that are in school. Okay, and so I thought, I'd ask you, what are your, road priority decisions? Back to the insurance thing, that's a problem for a lot of people. And I know I'm not the only person that plows that road. I know there's at least 3 other families that do plow that road, and I don't, and maybe it's just everybody just does their own thing. And I suspect that they're not in compliance with, if that is in fact a requirement. That it can be a hardship for a lot of folks. And $5,000 or $4,000, whatever the case may be, if I'm able to find it cheaper. It's a large expense for somebody that's just trying to maintain the road, the driveway to my house. And I think I've done a darn good job of it, so.
I think on that insurance thing, we put that on there as we were back if something happened, so, cause you take on doing it all, and we have to, I didn't know.
Well, they shouldn't be doing the maintenance anyway. I mean. Dumping 25 loads of gravel,
20 loads, truckloads, because the road hasn't been maintained.
that's ridiculous for one person to be doing that,
Well,
at the county road and below. Above the water tank, it's steep, and I don't know how we even plow it with our equipment. But anyway, but below the tanks is your place. I mean, why aren't we going with
Okay,
that?
yeah, so this is a question is, we now require that you fill out this form if you're going to maintain, and that basically was plowing snow because the county road couldn't reach it, and so they gave permission and signed the form, and you needed to have insurance on it to be able to do that, and so that you can't come back on the county and say, this is what we did. But
I get that.
I think in your case, this is the road that probably needs to be on the road maintenance list. Because-
Meaning what?
Meaning that they need to go up and put the gravel on it and plow it so you can get to your home.
Sure. And again, I've never expected the county to do that, but I'm asking that question. What are your priorities? And because that is city water supply.
Yeah.
And I bet if you ask them, they tell you that I've been doing a good job, because I make sure their driveways are open. I
Right,
haul gravel right into their driveways as well. So I'm trying to be a
but
good,
actually you shouldn't have been doing it.
well, maybe I couldn't, but if nobody's gonna do it, why, who's gonna do it?
Yeah,
So I'm not that person who's gonna sit back.
I mean, that's
That's
what
kind of
happened.
right, we shouldn't have been doing it.
on-
And the way I understood it in my previous life, if somebody worked on like Forest Road or whatever, they're liable. For everybody using that.
Oh, I'm sure, there probably could be.
So that's why you have that insurance, and. No, you shouldn't be doing it.
Is there
And it's a water supply, I'd say.
There's no.
it needs to be maintained by the road. It needs to be maintained by the road and the sign removed, so FedEx and UPS will deliver to you.
No, above that, where it's real steep,
That's a challenge for you guys.
Yeah.
That would be-
I don't see how we can't plow it.
yeah.
I don't see how we just tear up our equipment.
And that road is a challenge. I've plowed it myself or some of my neighbors to get into their place. You're right, it is a challenge. But right to the water tank turnoff, that road is as good as most dirt roads in Braddock County.
So, do we need a I'd make a motion that we tell them to go thirty
Improve it
and improve,
to
and improve it,
county.
wow, I mean, that's.
to the point where they remove the sign. And put the sign up further up.
Sign is further up.
Okay.
The sign should be right above the water tank, right,
Yeah.
above my turnoff.
Yeah.
So we need to have Paul here that.
Well, I think all you have to do is direct Paul to do it.
I guess so we're gonna take on more, right?
This
Well,
sounds
This
like-
is coming,
I
Yeah,
know,
it's
I'm
coming.
just saying though, I just. Everybody builds back in there and I know he's been doing a good job and that and. Just we can't hardly take care of the stuff we're doing now, so I'm just saying that this is doing, you know, we keep opening up more, now we're gonna do this. And we have a lot of trouble getting up in there with equipment.
Scott, it's approximately, you're looking at probably 5/10 of a mile. Again, I'm not here today to ask the county to do that.
Right.
That wasn't my reason for being here. Because I've done it for the last 4 years and willingly.
Yeah.
Okay. That's the absolute truth.
And you came in willingly and you filled out getting permission. And then and one of the requirements is insurance and that you can't afford $5,000. And it's not your
Well, I-
responsibility to put gravel on the
Well, I
road.
can afford $5,000.
Well, maybe you can, I'm saying that,
But it's
I don't mean it
a
in a-
large expense.
yeah, I don't mean it.
And then again, the question then becomes. Is it a requirement of anyone that's plowing a county road in the county? And I suspect there's a few people maybe abiding by that. But when my issue got a little bit complicated is again, because I opted to use my tractor
Yeah.
versus a pickup truck. So,
And they can get up in there with the snowplow, you're saying?
well, this county can plow there, no problem, right to the city turn, the city tank,
Yeah, it's above there, that, is it,
no shit at
I
all.
don't know how to do it, but to his place.
Yeah, above that, it would be a real challenge for anyone. So, I didn't, yeah, I didn't, I think I took, I sanded the hill the other day, because that hill was a little bit steep. And been a challenge, so anyway. Those are my concerns and those are my questions, and so I do appreciate your time today.
I think you have a legitimate,
Can you stay for a little bit here?
Absolutely.
Paul comes in and bring this up.
oh, yeah, but
No, it
It's-
needs to be brought up. to
it
him.
definitely needs to be brought up, but it's not Paul's decision.
I didn't say that, I'm saying that though we need to talk to him about it too, you know.
Oh, it's good if we stayed here and talk
Yeah,
about it,
right.
but yeah. I mean,
Yeah, you agree with me? I agree with you.
I agree with you.
Okay, yeah, if you could stay here, he's supposed to be here at 9:43. Okay,
Stick around. Thank you for your time.
thank you. Okay, we got the weekly report with Road and Bridge Superintendent Paul, solid waste weekly report.
We have a comment from Elena.
Go ahead, Elena, on Carrie Hatcher, is that what she's commenting on?
We'll find out, huh?
Yeah, thank you. I was waiting for public comment opening, but just a point of clarification on that. The road that Mr. Hatcher was talking about, is that a designated county road or not?
Yeah. Yes,
Yes,
It is, oh, and what's the name of it?
Stewart Lake,
I'm sorry,
Stewart Lake,
Stewart Lane?
Lake,
I can't hear. The microphones aren't, I don't know. Just Billy, write it down and email it, what they said. Thank you.
Stewart Lake Road.
Stewart Lake Road. Thank you, Blanche, because the speaker, I can hear you loud and clear. I just don't hear anybody else. Thank you, Blanche.
All right, you're up.
So we're just spreading some sand as far as the roads go. Everything's pretty good, other than a little bit of ice we got last night. And we're stripping out of the gravel pit. We should hopefully be done with that by Thursday. Hoping Wednesday, but probably be Thursday. And we'll have that. We'll be all gone. So,
Okay, so you're scraping the gravel pit. And you chose to do it on a holiday. Can you explain why?
because we're in time crunch, we have to get it done.
By when?
As fast as we possibly can. You can't have that stuff half tore up and then just let it refreeze and then rip it up again and go with it and keep doing it over and over. You just gotta stay at it steady and keep going with it to get it done. And if
so that
this,
was Bob, wasn't it? We were doing that, or?
Bob was out, I had one guy out there yesterday, Jim was out there, Bob was out there. And a couple other guys with masses, guys were out there.
There's a lot of guys that were leaders.
No, Tommy Matt,
Tommy has a
Crafter guy.
So we had one county guy.
one,
Yeah.
and if we'd have had this ice, we'd have had 4 or 5 of them. You know. But yeah, we're just trying to get it done, so we can,
Well, they're sitting there ready, waiting, you know.
we need to be out of their way.
And I knew about it, he mentioned it, I was gonna bring it up today.
So how's the material looking?
Good. Good. Bit more topsoil than we figured, you know, which is good too for when we start to reclaim it. But. Yeah, it should be rolling here pretty quick. So it's good,
That was good, got some weather to work with.
yeah.
Uh,
And as far as the dump, the backhoe, it should be done next week. He's waiting on a couple more bushings. But
tobacco is, toward it's.
Hmm.
Bad shape,
What?
tobacco's bad shape,
Yeah, we gotta talk about that when we talk about that money.
tobacco from Drummond, the one we've been waiting on the parts to get fixed, it's,
We didn't ever get parts or?
yeah, they guess, but then there wasn't some other parts that come with the main part, you should have waited. Just normal when you order parts. Longer on that, this, you could,
We were talking on the phone. I don't think I met Paul. Well, I met Paul many years ago.
we can jump into that.
Yeah.
Okay. Go ahead.
So Paul, reason for my visit today. After you and I had visited about the culvert and the cattle guard up there on the Stewart Lake Road. And I was thanking the commissioners for you guys taking care of that. In our course of our discussion, it was suggested that I consider doing the road maintenance agreement with the county, which I did. I submitted that to my insurance person to kind of get an idea of what it would cost being compliant with the county's request. And much to my surprise, it was approaching $5,000 a year to comply with the county's request. So that was one issue, so I was talking about that today. The other issue was I asked the county as far as what are their emergency preparedness plans, or priorities, because we live on a road right there in front of the city, on the 3 city water supply tanks. And over the years, I think I told you this, that I add gravel 20 loads across, and you can check with Benson, Terry Alt, Tommy Mazda, and Phil McDonald, because I bought from all of them. And I've graded and I've done the snow removal. And so I was kind of concerned, frankly, because here I'm not asking the county to do anything on that road. In fact, if you remember, I even said, I'll remove the county guard if you'd like, I'll remove the culvert, because I have to, you said, oh, that's the only one to take care of that, I appreciate that. And so I'm like, okay, what are the county's priorities? And the commissioners told me that I probably shouldn't be doing the road maintenance on that road. And so they also asked me to stick around here. Until you read your report. So that's why that summarize what I need to say.
Yeah, so Blanche and I think that we should be doing the maintenance up to that point. Because, well, it's pretty good shape road. We can't go beyond that, we're so steep. I mean, I can see that. I mean, you can't plow snow there. But up to the water tanks, I think we should be doing
Well, in a couple of years, we put a whole bunch of gravel in there, and if we're gonna do that, we're gonna have to put a whole lot more on there, so we bring is.
more like.
I mean, that's just. But that's your guys' call.
Well, it's something that can be done and probably needs to be done. Is what we felt, and it's gonna continue in the future. Because of the increase in the population up in the areas that right now are not, they're on county roads but not attainable. I mean, this, to me, because it's so close to the town and needs to be done at least up to the water tower.
I think.
And it's not the responsibility of the homeowner to throw gravel on, and apparently he's thrown a lot of gravel on it.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of many roads that need gravel put on.
Yeah.
That's just, by spring, I think we'll have
Yeah.
several other people that, well, we're gonna have to start doing a little bit.
Right.
Several of them,
Right,
you know.
We're gonna have to talk about that over there. I don't know what to do with that. road.
yeah.
There's
Hard to
a,
get anything to hold on, steep.
Yeah, it's too steep. I mean, it's just,
that's
Yeah.
why I wanted to draw it out, but
But. Even where his driveway, you're just getting to that,
That's the beginning of the steepness.
yeah,
does the city plow up there at all to get to, make sure that they can get to the
I've
water
never
thing?
seen the city plow trucks out there.
Kind of curious
At all.
if it's there, or something happened, you know, on there.
But Scott, I would also tell you, they probably haven't had, it, because at least in the last 4 years.
That's what I'm asking, is what is their responsibility there too? You brought up the emergency, you know, because it's their tanks.
Right.
That's why I just want to bring this all out, and see what their thought is too.
you want a motion to go up that far? or just-
So you guys, I would see what the city, if they were gonna help out on that, because they're.
It's our road, it's our road.
So one question, would the city have, would we have a policy with the city where they have to get up to their water tank? We're working together to make sure that it's passable. It's the city's interest in keeping it a good road too. That's
Right.
something that maybe we can discuss.
Yeah, but it's still our road. I mean,
It's our road, yes.
Yeah,
It's our
I
road.
think we just do it. And
I make a motion
that's
that
like,
that road gets taken care of and that. Mr. Hatcher has no need to be filling out this maintenance. Agreement, because it's. I guess I'm getting a little wordy on that,
I mean,
just because.
and so if he, yeah, where you put that, then if you want, to gotta make sure then that. If they can't get there, you know, it's gonna be down the line. when
Yes.
it's low
Oh, yeah.
water.
I was
You
just gonna
can't be
ask.
doing stuff.
Yeah, I was just gonna ask this though, are you going to be okay? Okay, if I were to, let's say it's on a weekend. Okay, on a Saturday and we get a foot of snow and I run my plow down that road just so we can get out.
No, because we're going right back again.
Yeah.
We just.
Well, and again, but if. I was
Chuck,
when the snows gets real bad, they're working on the weekends. They're working overtime. So I don't think you'd have to do that.
okay,
It needs to be called in to the road crew saying, hey, I'm impassable, you need to come up here, possibly. Is that how it's done?
yeah. I don't know where you turn around at,
I turn that corner, Paul, you could actually. It
go
goes,
to the corner.
yeah, if you turn around it right before you start going up the steep grade, it's a fairly wide spot there.
Do you want to go right to that corner?
Just to that corner, I'm not, yeah, I'm not asking, that's where the turnoff is for the city water tank. Is right there.
Okay, so my motion would be adding it to,
To that bottom corner.
And then,
A second motion.
okay, so that would be on your list of roads to maintain.
and we,
County roads, that yes, we're gonna maintain up to this, and it would, actually, we have maps where it's maintained, maybe follow. Get that of record that we do maintain up to a certain spot on that,
Change the signs.
yeah, and sign, that's it, they want the sign down.
or
Because
move
they
to
want
that
the
corner,
same-
or move to the corner.
Yeah.
You move that sign into the corner.
Up to
Oh.
the, yeah,
Paul, the reason I asked for the sign a little bit because UPS, FedEx, they won't even go up that road because they say it's not regularly maintained.
Oh,
so the sign be moved up,
To the corner.
And now
Yeah.
there's three
Tennis
homes.
green.
Yeah.
There's three homes between Seventh Street and that corner. Now, because you have Antonoli's, you have Williams, and then ourselves. That are from Seventh Street above, just to that corner.
so Paul just made a comment in the spring. Remove the sign in the spring, that work?
Perfect. Thank
yeah,
you.
you're not gonna drive anything in the ground
Yeah.
now anyway. so.
Yeah.
Thank you, everyone. My excuse. Bye-bye.
No.
In favor?
I,
Opposed? Alrighty, motion and carried pass. We'll move on, do you have anything else?
No.
I just think that we need one thing being up back again on this, the solid waste on that backhoe, we need to, when they sit down and have a little talk. Go over some
So-
stuff there that it's, just, yeah. So.
Are you kind of saying that the backhoe, we're not gonna be able to get it fixed?
Oh, no, we're fixing it.
Oh, okay.
It should be fixed
It's just so that.
by the end of next week.
We'll talk, I'll have room close it, cause it's.
Close meeting.
Yeah, we'll talk about it later. Just, yeah. Other than that, I don't have nothing else.
Alrighty,
Yeah, I wanna talk about this junk, oh, we're in the junk vehicle job description waiver, I just not gonna do that. I do not. Okay. Okay, we'll go ahead and talk about, we have the position description in front of us, it's just a draft. I didn't read it all the way through, I started snoring and changed over to something else, so if you wanna go ahead, why don't you kind of.
I think Rick is here, he wants to talk.
Okay, before we have public comment. I want to, get rid of the job description completely. And the reason is because the job description does not pertain to what we're doing right now. And going through and doing the research on it, it is really come to our knowledge that what we've done is kind of thrown away money. And we've done that in the salary of the coordinator. And that's been done since 1988. And as far as the administration part of it, the clerk and recorder does the administration and has. And I can attest to that because I did it for years. And then it was all of a sudden in the job description of the administrative assistant, but I still did the reports. And what is the junk vehicle program is we request. They don't tell us what we can do, we request. And what we've been doing since 1988 is requesting salary and benefits for a coordinator. That all that coordinator did was go and paint a sign and call whomever to remove it. And at one point, we had the road crew, they would remove it when they could. So as an example, I did have one removed on my own property. And I called to ask it to be removed and it was days later, and then it was like months later that the road came and removed it, but they did come and remove it. I mean, it's just at their convenience. Finding out that now we know that you tag it and you have 2 weeks to remove it. So what I would suggest is that we have the administrative done by the clerk and recorder's office, which they've done, and we can take salaries and benefits and reimburse it to them to have this done. Also, I would suggest, and I'm suggesting this is just a suggestion on my part, that the revenue can be utilized by the road crew and that the road crew needs to go and pick them up. Okay, so I've got dispute on that. Clearly, from last week's conversation, you don't want to do that.
no,
Okay,
I don't want to touch it. Yeah, pick them out, take a loader out and take a truck
okay,
out.
so, right, we did buy a trailer though, the junk vehicle bought it for the road to be able to do that. Money came out of junk vehicle to purchase the trailer to move vehicles. But beside the point, that's something that I would suggest be done. If you don't agree, fine, but what I would suggest is that we do not have a coordinator, we do not need a coordinator. I would suggest that it should be put, the administrative part, to the clerk and recorder's office. Let the clerk and recorder figure out how to tag it. If they want it and they want to tag it, they can tag it and then they can call if the road can do it, if there's a time frame they can, because you haven't done it for the last 2 years, but it has been done. You have gone and moved junk vehicles.
Yeah, I don't know, the last time we ever moved any of them, I think,
Did anybody talk to the sheriff, see if a deputy could go tag him? Paint him? I mean, that. For as few as there are, I think, you know. The deputy could go over there and put a number on to get the VIN number.
And that we couldn't, what I'm trying to state is that we don't need a coordinator, and I do have. Mr. McGill's email up. And I just want to make a comment. On a couple of things that he did inform us that he feels that it. Wouldn't be, the extra duties would detract from the existing job. And I feel that you could delegate it. He feels that it's part-time position. I say it isn't, because the average is 8 vehicles a year. That's what, maybe 8 hours to tag it. So what we can do is utilize all that money and like have someone get it tagged. Get the towing company called. And I also feel just from conversations that what we're allowing for junk vehicle is not enough money to be towed. And the example was given to me, it took this person 5 hours to get up to remove this for what, $200. So that's not enough. We need to be able to pay fair market value for towing the vehicle, and we have plenty of money to do that if we don't throw it into some coordinator. Okay, I'm done.
I basically agree with you on the coordinator position. If we can find somebody to tag it.
Yeah.
And
I gotta read.
if the deputy can't do it, maybe.
I gotta recluse myself from it, because I have a personal issue into it, and. if Either way I go, it looks like I'm trying to better myself, I think it's. Really upset over it. I think it's. Whatever.
You're upset over,
If, you know, this stuff that's going on in here, but Rick.
I would just add that state law requires the county to designate a truck vehicle coordinator. It's in the statute. And that could be, if you decide.
the clerk and recorder's office.
Order, then you would have to be.
Right.
Designate that.
Right.
I see what you're saying. The revenues that are realized are supposed to be the. Oh, I'm sorry. The revenues that come in from that are what pays for the salary.
I can't hear you.
Okay. I didn't want to take it all, but I
Okay.
just wanted to get that in there.
There,
So Sarah Graham, person reporter. So yeah, that's kind of what I was. Again, I was reading all this and it's like, oh my gosh, we're kind of reinventing the wheel, and it seems like. Since the clerk and recorder's office has always done the paperwork, we just continue doing the paperwork. The only difference is that we would have, the people who have junk vehicles or have vehicles they want to remove, that they would just contact our office, and then we would get them the paperwork to do that. And then give the opportunity to the road department, and then have our list of the towing companies that we would contact. And then be able to get them, you know, and we honestly we have it budgeted for more than that per car, if that's. what
there was
it's-
never stated that.
Yeah, it's in the actual budget that goes to the, and it was raised to 200, and then last year it was up to 300 it can be. So, anyway, but also the other thing I propose is that we do get something in the paper and let people know about this program. And, that we can do it, and I've talked with Becky and with my office, and we don't have an issue with fielding those phone calls and making sure that people get the paperwork. And if we have to go to get, you know, we'll get a uniform. We didn't really see how Steve was designating the cars, but I think that we're up to 68 cars now. Looking at the paperwork from the time that he's been doing it.
That's in the graveyard.
Yeah,
How many
that
vehicles?
he has done, because when I looked at his spreadsheet, that he would give to it. That was really the only thing that he would ever be waiting for the, to submit all the reports to was his report on how many vehicles had been done, and we would have that information, so.
So if somebody comes in, they want this dead car removed, and could we require them to bring the VIN number in, and then we give them a number depending on the car?
Or we go out there and get the VIN number off it. I mean, we've got.
Why
But if it's
can't
their
they?
car,
that,
Your,
and
your
that-
idea
that's
with
great.
maybe the sheriff's office,
That would be a good idea
Because-
too, yeah.
this would be reimbursement.
Mhm.
It could- From, okay, the sheriff's office went and tagged it. They could, it took them an
Right.
hour, if the wages and benefits could be paid. And
Right, and-
dispersed out of junk vehicle, I mean, a transfer, a simple
Yeah,
transfer.
Yeah.
I spoke with Andrea this morning and she was talking about that, anybody who does anything like that, that we can transfer the money, so. So the sheriff's department could get that reimbursed for that time, the road department could get that reimbursed for that time if they were.
So in one question, and this will be to you, Paul. Say, for example, we needed to clean up the boneyard, would that be something that? If you could find the time, you could delegate someone like that, they have some downtime to go. And sort those vehicles and make them
Yeah,
more organized?
we're gonna have someone go there and
Yeah,
stack, we would
and
have to do it anyway.
Yeah, and that would be something that is totally reimbursed.
Reimbursable
from
from
junk
the,
vehicle.
that would be revenue for the.
And then that's what I'm looking at, is just the revenue utilized by the county instead of going in someone's pocket.
Yeah,
But but there are times when they aren't gonna be able to, and if you can't, that's perfectly okay, talking with Andrea, that we do have the private companies go in, for picking up the cars, not for doing that.
So you wouldn't even want to mark
Yeah.
them,
I wouldn't need to,
okay,
I think
Yeah.
that
okay,
if, yeah, it's just whatever works out.
yeah, I mean, that's what we want to do is keep the money and I know. Scott, you're upset about this. Because you're feeling, because it's personal to you, but. It's not personal to me, and what I'm trying to do, if it doesn't work, if the road can't do it. Definitely, we need the towing company from Granite County to do it.
Absolutely.
Why can't the person that, has a junk vehicle email in their VIN number and stuff and put their own number on it?
I
Why
think
does
we would
anybody have to go
we
up?
probably have to designate what that is. and
But
make
you would
sure.
when they called in,
Mhm.
you would say, well, okay, this is junk vehicle number 8,
Yeah, and you get on.
and that could be in your record.
Right, we can sort all of that, we need the paperwork filled out.
So here's the question on that. If it's tagged, you have 2 weeks to move it. So if the person said, give me a number, I'm gonna tag it, then we immediately call someone to get it moved by 2 weeks. If the form came in to the clerk and recorder's office, there's no time frame when that form is filled out, when it has to be
Be
tagged.
tagged, and we can also, if people call up in January and say they want, we
Yeah.
most definitely say, oh gosh.
No, you can't.
Because
get it
there's no
moved.
towing company, and it's not, you're not gonna
Then you
want
want
to go
it
in January to
Yeah.
get something. Huh?
I mean, they
Oh,
need to go
it's rough in
through
the mountains.
a form filled out.
But you would be able to do it later too. I'm just,
So here's the thing, what's your problem, Scott? I mean, you're just,
she was just telling me that I wouldn't wanna go up,
oh, I was asking, why would
Just
anybody?
down there, why wouldn't I?
Oh, okay, well, if you would want to, then,
Why, well,
Yeah.
I can handle it.
okay.
okay, so that's another thing that we need to make sure that the fair wage to the towing company.
Right,
We can't just say, well, you only get $200, if it costs you $500,
right,
that's tough, you're
And
only
we-
getting 200, go do it,
right, and we've got it budgeted for more than that,
yeah.
so.
Yeah, and I think there shouldn't be a set price. I think it should be fair market value towing charges.
Okay,
You see what I mean?
yeah,
Because we still have plenty of money in there. You're
right,
looking at 36 hours a month. Paid for 12 months, when only 8 vehicles were removed, which would be a total of 8 hours. Which is what, $800, and we paid. $800 you don't charge $20.
I mean, those are all things that can be worked out, but I just think that all of our paperwork has always been done in the clerk and recorder's
So I guess
office.
I'd entertain a motion then. Cause you got it on here for discussing decision.
Okay. I would entertain a motion that we have the coordinator assigned to the clerk and recorder's office, starting from there. And means that the administrative stuff is done by them. And not have a part-time position for an employee to come in and
I'll second that part, just the marking of the cars.
do you understand what I said, Billy?
Yeah.
Okay.
Any public comment?
Elena has a comment.
Go ahead, Elaine, on the motion of junk vehicle.
As far as the discussion of this, Blanche, thank you very much for screen sharing. Good job. And also, maybe if we're talking about the coordinator position, that should have been up there also. That draft of the position description that I think you're going to discuss today, is that going to be revised or amended to reflect this information?
I think they just voted to get rid of it.
Okay, my comment is, I immediately asked to throw this job description out. And that we move to have the coordinator position coming out of the clerk and recorder's office, as they do all the administrative work on it anyway. That was my immediate call for.
Okay, so this thing is going to be gone, what you have from last week, the position description, that's going to be gone.
Yes.
Yeah, make that
Oh,
motion.
okay, and it tells you as far as physical demands and working conditions, we're just gonna have a towing company do it instead, because it has education, experience, all this information, summary of work, job characteristics. So it's not like gonna be another position, it's gonna be handled by Road and Bridge, and they have the towing facilities.
Okay, so Elena, what I said is that this job description is wrong. It never was the way it's written. The job description was pulled by Billy from other places, and other places don't actually have a position for that. They incorporate it, and that's what we want to do, is incorporate it with the clerk and recorder's office. There is no, it's administrative, and we'll continue on with having a towing facility remove that vehicle. This is the process that the former coordinator did. All he did was tag them and log them and turn the log into the clerk and recorder's office, and they did the rest. So we're alleviating all that and turning it over to the clerk and recorder's office to do the administrative work that they have been doing, and I did it for 28 years. That's what we're doing.
Thanks for the explanation. We gotta move on. We have.
Thank you.
All in favor?
I made a motion, right?
He seconded.
Yeah, that's like. Yeah.
And I recuse myself.
And you, yeah.
Motion been carried and passed. Alrighty.
All right.
10 o'clock, Brandon Parrot Dam Tenders Report, Georgetown Lake Outflow Review Decision at 64/28/02/1776 inch. Where last week we were 1780.
So that graph had it coming up more than that.
No, it's hard. I try to read that, how is it?
Okay.
Well, last week it's. Yeah, 1764, this was 1776, sorry, I was misread it.
last week was 1764,
Yeah. Yeah,
and this is 1776, something wrong.
I think that we can pull it out. Where are we? Share.
you got. You got any listen to Paul's comments while you're looking that up? Go ahead, Paul.
We're at 6428.07 right now. Steady climb. Roger thinks that there is about,
Can you speak up? I can't hear.
yeah, hang on one sec.
What did Roger say?
There's probably 20 CFS coming into the lake right now. There's,
No, wait a minute.
Six
If we're,
going
are we putting out 6?
yeah,
If we're putting out 6 and 22 is coming in, it's
20.
gotta go way up more than that.
20.
Well, what's this ice and stuff? Remember we had this problem last year, shot something.
If
But
someone
I'm not
throws
like
up,
that, where you prove that it's 20 coming in,
that thing was, that,
remember?
that gauge was froze up. Something wrong, Kevin. There's no way you can have
Think
that
of
much
it.
coming in and that much going out and not raise it up.
It's coming up,
Raising it more.
it's coming up.
Well, it's just said it did.
Steady
Right
climb.
now, looking at the graph, it's 6428.07, and this is at 9 AM.
In the last 72 hours, Discovery Basin has 3 inches of snow. And we weren't supposed to get any in the week, and I think that we're at that time now where it's just gonna keep going.
You think?
Same, you think we're gonna dry up, same thing.
I'm not saying we're, I don't know. I don't think we're gonna dry out. I mean, it could change. I've said that all along. And. But this one, little bit we've got it. It's not.
Did we ever hear back from anybody on going to 6 or? was it
Yes,
approved?
I,
approved it.
yeah,
Okay,
they approved it. Mhm.
And other than the last few years, this time of year, we were running always at 15 plus CFS going through the hydro plant. And we never dried the lake out, never had a problem, we always fill. Right now at Peterson Meadows, we're 85 to 100% of normal.
85, right? Last Friday was 85 for the upper Clark Ford.
To 100% of normal. We just got.
You're not 100% normal.
Have an issue on one of the claims.
so I guess I'm waiting for a motion to see what we wanna do.
Well, I'll make the motion to stay where we're at.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
So your comment is that we need to make sure that moisture gets off the banks in the lake. And so it needs to go up. We need to keep more water in and less water going out because the lake banks need moisture.
Well,
When we say the same for the creek banks, they need moisture too. So they need a little bit more water coming out.
Usually you worry more about that in springtime when it starts, you know, you wanna make sure the banks are going.
Yeah, it's springtime.
Right now, they're just flowing by, it's still, so it's not really. That's mine.
Okay, I just saw on the news this morning about, all the rain you get in California. And they said it's doing very little to their drought. And you know why? Because, well, it is filling some reservoirs. But they're talking about other towns losing all water this summer. And because of what I talked about before, the ground is so dry down there. It's dry and it's not even getting down to the aquifers. And then the top layer got saturated, and so it now won't soak up anymore and run off. And it's kind of the same thing I'm talking about here. You know, I mean, that ground is so dry. It's gonna take way more than what we got for snow here, just to charge the ground, just so it'll start.
You don't think that ground was charged last year in June?
Last year,
In the month of June?
it started to, but it barely got up there, and then it went, and then it dried out again.
When it's drying out, it don't matter, we're at 30 CFS. So why are, you know, just sitting here, you guys are spending money on roads and that, we need to turn that up, generate some income, put it down.
What's the difference between,
It's not my job, not my job, I'm an employee at that place there, you guys can
Yeah,
go
but-
look that up, you can go look it up. What you make, what
Where
you
do I
know,
look it up?
it's revenue. You know? It's revenue, it's just, you know, I come down here every week and I bring facts. You know, Todd Blythe had nothing but facts for us last week, 3 pages of it, nothing but facts. And your comment was, I don't believe it. That was your comment. And so we're just not getting anywhere.
well, something's wrong here, if you say 22 is coming in.
20.
20 is coming in, and we're letting out 6, then this should be going up a lot faster than. Where's it going?
It's not coming up that fast. It's a constant going up. And then we reach a point where we can't catch it. It's over the spillway. And then there's problems for everybody.
Well, it's problems for everybody too, if it doesn't fill.
Your comment
one of
wasn't,
them deals where you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't, really, that's what it comes down to, there's so many. People involved in what people want to make money, people are worried about what their. Recreation, and then you got the ranchers, I mean,
If
our
that-
hands are so freaking tied right here that you're trying to. Justify for everybody, and it's whatever we do, it's not gonna make everybody happy. That's my opinion.
Everybody wins if that lake fills, everybody loses if it doesn't.
So the lake is coming up, staying at 6. The lake could be coming up because we've got 20 coming in.
if we were at
And
10,
and last week, somebody said it was 11 coming in.
13, wasn't it?
No,
oh, it was like 16. And you said,
Okay.
I don't
See,
believe that.
that's
I
the
talked
thing.
to a guy that said there's 9 coming.
But that's the thing is that. Is there some way or another that we gotta figure out for the proof of really how much is coming in? I just don't, we keep going off of this and that and this, and then last year we did that and justified that the gate wasn't working, it froze up, and we didn't, we were just kind of. That hit a scoop, so I mean.
And then my question is, and I made this statement last week, is that there was no difference at 10. It didn't go down, but it didn't really come up. It stayed. It did. Like
Slowly
0.01.
going up.
Yep.
Even
So
at
in this instance, your motion, would we have to get permission again to keep it at 6?
Yeah. Yeah, we have to on every week where we're gonna, cause. I thought Wayne, no, I shouldn't, I'm not quoting Wayne, I thought he said you needed to get the.
we didn't do it last year, we're down 6 last year.
I know, but we were supposed to.
We didn't do it every week.
We notified everybody, I guess if we just notify, we're okay, I'm not going against you, Chuck, I'm just saying that we gotta make sure we do it right, otherwise then here comes everybody else back at us.
Okay, fine, we'll send them an email and say,
Are you?
we're staying at 6.
I mean, that's.
Well, I feel we could go to 10. So your decision. I'm sticking by my guns from last week. I think that it didn't go down when we were at
But
10.
we should be gaining. We're 17 inches, almost 18 inches low
Okay, you said
at the middle of January. That is
And
not
it's-
good.
yeah.
That's what spoke to me.
That is not good.
And I know the revenue, and I know they need to make money too, but I mean, we gotta still look past revenue, which we do, I'm saying that.
If we were at 12 inches right now, we'd be in big trouble. Big trouble. That thing be going over. Right
But
now,
we
it's
see-
not the time of year you wanna
But we could,
be at 12, it doesn't matter, you need springboard there.
but then when you're saying that, if
To
you
catch
catch it, if we're 12, but then we could be dumping out a lot more too, through the disturbance. So I mean, that's where it comes back.
Exactly, so then we start
Both
adjusting.
sides. I mean,
Yeah, if we were at 12, we could be dumping 20
or whatever.
or
And we
18
have
or
in the
whatever.
past. We have in the past,
But we're not at 12, we're at 18, almost 18.
and it's coming up. Just a constant climb.
Well, I think this is one of the good things about it, and I really appreciate you coming in every week, and you know, you got the facts and that, and it's everybody, we just gotta keep. Calm and try to get through that, I mean, it's gonna be a tough one, I mean, I wanna make money too, because we don't have no money in there. And, but it's, yeah, we gotta, like I said, we'll pass the revenue, look into what. They're coming, a little bit of futures coming here, see what's gonna happen. We can get some good snowfall on that, right? You know,
Oh, yeah.
jump it up.
If it had changed, I'd go up.
I guess we'll stay at 10 until we get the email or.
We're at 6
Six,
right now.
yeah,
Yeah.
so we
So you have to
can't really-
ask,
yeah.
you have to ask.
I thought Blaine said that, I shouldn't, we could call him, Blaine's not here due back to medical. So, I don't know if
Oh,
we need to call.
He said
him.
we could call him or email him.
Yeah, I
and
just
text
looked,
him.
yeah, I looked at the emails from last week from the agencies and there's not an end date on the 6 CFS, so I'll just
Okay.
follow up on that email chain and say you guys. If you decide to stay at 6, that you've decided that and make sure they agree and I'll stay in contact with Paul.
So you wanted at 10, you wanted at 6, right? He said,
I didn't say that. I wanted 10, yeah.
yeah, and you said, yeah, that's-
I said yes, at 10.
I'd like to see it fill one more, so I'm gonna go with the 6 for this week. Just to see what's gonna happen. I'm gonna find out, right?
All right, thank you guys.
Yeah, thank you.
Have a good day.
Do we
All in
need
favor?
public comment?
Yeah.
Is there any?
Any public comments? Ian's nine, all in favor? Aye. Motion been carried and passed.
Is there any way we can get that case?
I said no, but Philly just for your.
Gotcha.
That's what I was just gonna bring up. We need to figure out, because every time last, week, I thought they said 13, we said 16. And then I thought, now they're saying 20. What are they getting there? We need.
Yeah, we need to get them, we need to see them.
I
We
mean,
need proof
I
that,
feel a lot more if we knew for sure 20 was coming in, I'd be a lot more thinking, oh, let's go up to 8.
and that's not,
I'd go up to 10, if 20 is coming in. I'd willingly go.
that's more or less,
I don't know where he's getting it, that's what he said.
so yeah, he needs to prove. Or show us proof that's where what's coming in.
Can you
And
get,
it's not that we don't believe him,
can you
sorry.
get something to them, Billy, where they can show where they're getting their readings and that, and we have it in front of us, so then each
Yeah.
week we can look, say, okay, this is
Yeah.
coming through the southern process, I'm just using this. And then we have, and then I'd like to know what couple weeks ago, we brought up about, they're talking about the income and that, we make a lot more money. What do we make from 6 to 10? I'd like to know that, and then daily, what do we make in daily?
Yeah,
I mean, it's.
So
We
on
never
that-
know how much we.
Yeah, on that, you can just get, you can look up the revenue report.
But I don't understand this much, you know, like it's saying at 6, I just wanna see a reduced.
Oh, okay,
You know, I just wanna know if then we can, cause they keep bringing that. They're for the money.
Well, yeah, but if we don't fill that lake,
I know, I'm not arguing with you,
Yeah, I
I'm
know.
just saying that this is the.
I mean, they can make money in the summer too, right? With all the air conditioning going on and everything else, if we have the lake level up.
I mean, there's so much to this that it's not just about the money making you.
No, I mean, like I say, everybody loses, but that lake doesn't fill.
All right, well, we better move on, sorry about that, I'm gonna let it over on monthly claims, what do you got, Becky?
So on the general distributing, a couple months back, I thought that there was some discussion about canceling that.
I did not take care of it.
Well, so this is what I want to talk to you about. Darlene Hoggett from the hospital called today and said that they went over there to get their tanks and stuff out of there. Because the general distributing is showing up on Friday to pick all them up at the hospital. she said that if we wanted her to, she could send their maintenance guy over to get the rest of the tanks that we have, and they could then pick them up on Friday also.
Okay, the one thing that we were checking, I was gonna check on to see if in case if we needed to leave some here due to an emergency was and the sheriff, I asked him once and then I don't know why.
Okay,
So you might check with the sheriff just in case on the oxygen things, but if we can get rid of them, let's get rid of them. We don't have them.
We'd still have to pay a fee on the ones that we left.
so right now what we're paying is.
I go through these, right, on my tanks for my welding and stuff.
So on the medical right here, this DEY, she said that one is over there, but it doesn't look like we're being charged on this. Invoice for that one. It's the medical cup.
And see, and I've asked them about that and I couldn't figure out what the cup.
Yeah, I don't know either.
Could you check on that before we approve this and see
Yeah.
what they mean by the cup? Cause they were gonna get back then.
Okay,
Cause I don't know what that means. I
Right.
thought they would mean stuff for the ambulance that they buying. And that's what I thought. So we've got none forgot to check.
okay.
So it's-
And she said that there was, that DEY tank, which is that one that there's no charge here, it's that. That's medical O2. She said that's over there, they can get that, it's apparently hooked to the, like hooked up inside the ambulance or something, and they can take that out. But she said that there was another one that was attached to the gurney, and I'm wondering if that's not what this is.
If
It's,
you could find out
Yeah.
and just keep that or call them now and find out before we approve it, and have we can move ahead on, see what we want.
okay, sounds good.
Because it's gonna come down, Becky, to the drum one too, because they don't, that ambulance haven't ran for so long and they're not.
Well, I don't have anything like this for them.
Where's to get their tank?
I don't know.
That's the thing, it's gonna.
I don't know. Well, and I think they do, but I think that because they just send us like a big group of. Things that we need to pay them
There's a
back
whole bunch
for.
of tanks in there too. I mean, this is stuff we're gonna, I guess it's next year in this budget thing, we're really gonna have to start looking into what we're gonna keep and what not.
So the way that Drummond generally does is they just purchase out of their. Funds that they have, and then they send me an invoice with all of the stuff, and I just write a check back to their account. And so I think they might, if they're using general distributing, then they're just paying for it themselves and then being reimbursed for it.
So they have their own checking account?
Mhm.
Yeah, I see that, but I wasn't sure.
Mhm.
Okay, I want to make comment. On, oh, good.
I'm good.
Yeah, that's good to be here. Billy, what's your name?
Becky.
Becky.
Mhm.
Becky gives me a list and I go through it. I mean, you made a comment that I didn't look at the claims last week.
I meant though, that looking, no, not on.
Oh, it's just that I go through and look at the funds where the claims are paid out of, if anything's.
I meant that you didn't look into each individual, maybe, and then maybe I said it wrong, Brian, I wasn't dishing you or nothing, but I'm saying that you might not look at each, where I like going through them, because then I can look on the back page.
Where you
I
can see the invoices. and
Yeah,
everything.
that's all I was saying, I wasn't
So
saying
then,
don't
yeah.
look through.
Well, I've just been saying that I do, if I see something funky or unusual, I look.
That's why I like going through them.
Yeah,
It's in
and
here.
you always have, you've
Yeah.
always stressed that. And so has, and I'm easy enough to look at.
Yeah,
When
I
you
didn't,
question it, yeah,
I didn't mean you didn't go through.
I just want you to know that.
That's why you might look through, now you're figuring it out. As long as we're going through claims, can we have a quote one? I think it's just. That she brought. That was some of them that she brought back, that brought in towards that. Bring them in. So. We've already took care of that. That's why that letter here too.
Oh, that's December 1st through the
Yeah.
22nd. And it's paid. The check number. H. That's the one where they did the research on it, and then the person came in and paid for the invoice, is that correct? Bill? I guess.
I'm Becky.
Oh,
I already asked you that if you were Bill or Becky.
it's
I
okay.
glanced.
It's a Monday on a Tuesday.
Yeah.
What
I
was the
think-
question?
It was you just asked about the the Dodge, whatever.
2014.
Not just December first one, it's what started this stuff. Maybe-
Well, there's one on there for the 21st or 22nd of December.
That's the one that we thought was redone or done
He,
after.
and it was,
Yeah, that's why this all come out.
yeah, it was done after. Apparently, that employee sent the part back. So there should be a credit on next month's bill. So I will pay it this month and then we'll be credited next month. I think is how I did that. The general distributing, this here is the cylinders, the oxygen cylinders that we have. Currently Granite County Volunteer Ambulance has 4 that we're being charged for. She said as soon as we send them back, we'll quit being charged.
So you wanna have that guy grab them?
I mean, I can, that's what, yeah, if that's what you guys want, I can certainly call them back and have them.
Okay, cause if somebody uses one of the ambulances, like if. I'm just this Eagle comes up.
Yeah, they should have their own cylinders,
That's when,
yeah.
that's when drug gas things they'll have. I can get them out of there somehow. If you would.
Yeah.
Yeah, if they're willing to go over and get them, then all of them go.
Everything.
Cause I don't think the sheriff ever uses any of that stuff. I don't think so.
Okay, so here's the general distributing bill, thank you.
Thank you.
That's right.
Erin Carey from the BLM, she was going to be driving here today, but they ran into some issues, so she will be on Zoom at 11.
Give me your hand.
Yes, I guess. I guess. I know I try, but it just.
Seven, 5, 0. What is this? When you get to the G's, is there a G in here? So Billy, on your claim,
Yeah,
you had to go pick up the employee handbooks, is that
yeah,
what happened?
yes. I had to drive to Butte to pick them up. And we have them. There's 2 boxes there and one in the clerk and recorder's office.
You're getting hold of Blackfoot, see what's wrong with phones again, cause it's been
Yes.
for the last month or so,
But that,
people told me they call them and nothing happened. We've had nothing since we got them phones years ago, that was the new technology supposed to be so good and then they jumped since.
really?
This is pretty old.
Oh, really?
Mike got them,
It's been, huh?
Mike got them,
That's.
I mean, yeah, this is years and years. We might need to upgrade it a little bit.
They were.
And it definitely is a-
And they come and look at them, like you said, and if you haven't plugged it for a while, then you plug it back in.
Oh, maybe that's what it is.
But I mean, remember they come and. We never ever had luck, we couldn't even, we had a hard time trying to have a conference call on there.
Well, that was with all the insurance claims people, when they called, we couldn't even conference people into it.
Yeah.
Which is probably the purpose of a conference phone. In my opinion.
Yeah, I think we need to upgrade that.
Okay. no
Would you
problem.
check into that, Billy?
I never am.
On another note, did you check into external?
I did, I called a couple companies, no one has called me back yet. Probably, I think I did.
On this Flint Creek phone, that's just the phone there at the. Powerhouse, right?
I believe so, I can have Becky check, I agree with that.
I don't know, if we really need a phone there.
I think it's an emergency thing.
That's that.
Yeah. We've been doing that for
Long time.
CenturyLink. Yeah,
I knew we had, but I guess if we really needed one up there, but I guess we're.
yeah, I think we've questioned years ago that, oh, that was, yeah, cell phones probably, maybe this. I don't know, it could be maybe re-looked into.
$75. If it's something like that, maybe just one quick project we pay for it.
Maybe it should be suggested.
So it's HDR engineering. The earthquake study was built for 12,672. I haven't heard anything about it.
Yeah, we decided they were gonna do. The.
Seismic. No, that's for the seismic study, the PGA
Oh,
analysis. Up at the
Okay, they're
dam.
doing, are they the same vendor that we have for?
No,
No, that's Cromwell, or that's Scott Cromwell with Slate Architects. It's doing the courthouse.
Yeah,
That one's for the,
that's for the earthquake study. And
I thought they were gonna get back to Jeremiah.
So-
Jeremiah was gonna, or he's gonna have an update, see, or goes to Flint Creek, or.
yeah, that comes out of Flint Creek Project. So HDR is your only company that ever
Yeah.
bid it.
Yeah.
And I want to say it was for like
Yeah, that's what-
63,000 or something.
Great West couldn't do it, so we had to find someone else. and that's-
Exactly, so, but
And this
the
is
bill is for what? I
for
haven't
the
heard it.
seismic thing.
I know, but I haven't heard it.
So they're working on it. They requested a bunch of documents that we've gotten over to them recently in the last month or so. But it has to be done by, I want to say April, the 1st of April. So I think that's the second invoice from them. I feel like we got one in the fall when they were first getting started. But I can look and see if there was another one. But hopefully we see more
You
and
wanna
they
look at this
wrap it up.
thing? I think it's in with the Gs, or if you already got the Gs. HIG.
Oh.
G. E. Yeah, I think on this general distribution, remove the cylinders. And if someone borrows our ambulance, they need to have their own cylinders.
You guys have that thing coming up too, where you have them out for lease. Your lease proposals, I think that's something.
So we're paying for them and no one's using them, sitting
Yeah.
there, as long as they're sitting in the ambulance building, we have to pay for them. That's what Becky was talking about,
So. You're real.
get rid of them. Yeah. Chuck's, Chuck, your Chuck. I must be going to see that today.
It's a weird day today.
Oh, my goodness.
And Aaron Carey and Kyle Johnson are on for whenever Scott gets back and you guys are ready.
Hello,
Hi,
is that Billy?
it is, and Chairperson Adler stepped out for a minute, but should be back momentarily.
Okay. Thanks for bearing with us. I am definitely having a Monday on a Tuesday, so
Me too.
Yeah, I think it's a consensus.
how much time do we have with you all?
I think I gave you a half hour is what we had talked about, so you have some time.
Okay, great, thanks.
Is this Aaron?
Yep, Aaron, Carrie, and Kyle.
Sorry. We'll go ahead and give us an update and what's going on. We're just kind of curious with that letter you sent us. That BLM project update.
Yeah, is everyone back?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Well, thanks for having us. As I was just saying, I'm having a Monday on a Tuesday and we wanted to meet with you in person, but I did not plan, I didn't give us enough time to get there safely in these conditions. So I'm grateful for the Zoom option. And there's been a bit of turnover with the commissioners. So we'll give you a little background on the Clark Fork Phase project, which is the letter that I had sent to you all last week. It is the largest project that we have underway with the BLM Missoula field office that's by and large in Granite County. Most of the treatment areas fall within Granite County. And we did brief the commissioners a little over a year ago. And we're going through a public comment on the draft environmental assessment. So it's a good time to circle back and check in with you all as we work through those comments and then start to make our way toward a final decision on that project. So for those who are new, just a real quick orientation to the Missoula field office for the BLM. I'm the Missoula field office manager. Kyle Johnson is on here with me. He's our forester and the team lead for the Clark Fork Phase project. And we encompass about just under 200,000 acres within Missoula, Granite, and Powell counties. Our contiguous blocks of land tend to fall around the Garnett Mountain Range, the Hoodoo sort of Warm Springs area, and then the Blackfoot. And then we have some scattered ownership further south down around Phillipsburg and within scattered throughout Granite County. So that's kind of who we are. We're predominantly forested, so that makes us a little bit unique compared with the rest of the BLM offices throughout Montana, Dakotas. And as such, forestry and fuels is a big driver of our workload. And that's something that we're out there actively managing our forested landscapes for a variety of objectives, including forest products and timber volume, as well as forest resiliency, fuels management, et cetera. So I know that we are pretty, we have limited time and I want to be respectful of that time. So I would love to turn it over to Kyle to bring you up to speed on where we're at with the Clark Fork Phase project and what it's all about.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks, Aaron. So good morning, everybody, and thanks for your time today. I really appreciate the opportunity. And if I get going along here and I'm not making sense or whatever, feel free to just jump right in. So I do have a slideshow or a presentation that I'd like to show you because I think that works pretty well. So hopefully this comes through. Yeah, you guys can tell me when you can see that.
Yeah, can it come up on that?
I have a connection.
Do you want me to wait for a minute or should I?
Go ahead, sorry.
Go ahead. Okay. So this is the Clark Fork Phase Forest Health and Fuels Reduction Project. And like Aaron mentioned, it's a draft environmental assessment that The comment period just recently closed, actually, just on Sunday. But this is a great opportunity to kind of bring you guys up to speed on where the project is. So just gonna go through an introduction to the project, where we are in the process, and then what comes next. And so to start with, this black box polygon right here is our planning area. And you'll see that it is in both Missoula and Granite counties. As we zoom in a little bit here, the planning area is actually 51% Missoula County. But if you look in that next little box, most of the BLM ownership, 75%, is in Granite County. So we're straddling the line between the two, and just a little piece, only about 6% Powell County. But most of the proposed treatments are in Granite County. The ownership is pretty interesting in this area. It's only 10% BLM ownership. And we'll talk about that quite a bit as we go on forward, but it is overwhelmingly small, non-industrial private. That's that 48%. And a lot of that would have been private industrial forestry back, a couple decades ago. That would have been Stimson, Champion, those sorts of companies. And then we do have a fair bit of DNRC, 21%, and Nature Conservancy at about 12%. So we're going to talk about this ownership quite a lot as we go through the development of this project here. So after we identified this planning area, and I should pause for just a second, we didn't just magically contrive this planning area. The reason for this is based primarily on watersheds. The field office, like Aaron was describing, is broken up into planning areas that are more or less along the watershed lines. And so that's where the Clark Fork name came from, because almost, not exclusively, but almost all of the BLM ownership within this polygon drains into the Clark Fork, as opposed to the Blackfoot. So to get into the planning effort a little bit here, one of the things that we have recently is the signing of a new resource management plan. And that RMP was signed just about a year ago, or excuse me, 2 years ago now. And it identified this fire management zone 1, which you can see is most of the BLM within that planning area. And in the fire management zone 1, the RMP now gives us the authority, or the direction, I should say, to prioritize human safety, human properties at risk over habitat. And the reason for that, or the way that works, is the RMP consultation with the Fish and Wildlife Service disclosed that effect. And so the Fish and Wildlife Service has already issued their opinion, and all that documentation is already done. And this Clark Fork Face project adheres to the RMP and follows that direction. So we'll talk about why that's an FMZ1 as we get through here too, but this is just a little bit of the specific language highlighted there. To protect life, increase safety of firefighters, and protect property is priority over Canada lynx. And that's not necessarily to say that our treatments are going to negatively affect the lynx. That's just illustrating where we're placing our priority. So here's kind of the reason for that FMZ1. In large part, it's because of the expansion of homes and structures. We're talking about cabins, in many cases off the grid. Some of them are seasonal, but many of them are year-round residents that have been moving up into this area as those lands have been sold from private industrial forest land. And so this influx of folks up into the forest land is what is driving us to identify this as a fire management zone 1, and really shaping this in many ways as a wildland urban interface project. Now, there are other benefits, the forest health, and that we'll talk about as we get going through here, but there is a large component of human health and safety that we're trying to address. And then this is the forest health component. So the red crosshatch are areas that were identified by the Wildfire Adapted Missoula project that the U.S. Forest Service has put together. And then those kind of red solid pink polygons are areas identified by the Montana Forest Action Plan as priority areas. And so that was both based on the fuel risk to structures, and the little triangles are the structures out there, as well as the forest health decline that we're seeing in many places, due to Douglas fir beetle and tussock moth and many of those sorts of critters. So the point of this slide is to illustrate that our planning effort overlaps really nicely with the Montana Forest Action Plan, as well as the Wildfire Adapted Missoula. So speaking of fire a little bit more, what we're looking at here is a fire adapted landscape, a fire prone landscape. And to illustrate that, the stars are the starts, the identified starts since 1980. So you can see those throughout much of the area. And then those colored polygons are the large fires since the year 2000. So in that time, we've had 7 large fires from 2000 to 21. And you can see those are all ranging all the way up to about 17,000 acres. So for me, what this tells me is that fires will occur in this landscape, and we need to be managing with that in mind. It's not an if scenario, it's the when scenario. And of those fires, and with those fires, we've lost 6 structures right in the heart of this planning area.
Right where?
I said right in the heart of this planning area. So the Ryan Gulch fire burnt 2, Packer Gulch fire burnt 3, and Anderson Hill fire burnt 1.
Yeah.
So with all that background, now all that planning that you saw, we started developing our purpose and need. And you'll notice the very first purpose and need statement there comes straight from the RMP with that Fire Management Zone 1, and it's to protect life, property, and firefighter safety in and near the wildland urban interface. So that's a very important goal for us. The second, though, also important, is restoring healthy ecological conditions by increasing the acreage of forest communities, moving towards the midpoint of the natural range of variability. So that acronym right there, NRV, what that is saying is that we recognize many of these forests are not in a state that they would have been in without human interventions. And that means fire suppression or the past logging that happened or whatever the case may be. We would like to try and affect change on this landscape to get it back within those natural variations. It's not a static point. We're not saying that we want it to look like it did in 1700 or whatever. We're saying there's a range of conditions that were naturally occurring, giving those fire return intervals, and much of this landscape has deviated from that. Our third goal here speaks to sensitive and native plant communities, and that'll come up as I go through this a little bit more, but specifically the limber pine, which is a cousin of the white bark pine, exists on this landscape, and we want to help it out. And we want to try and improve the ecological health by increasing that resistance and resilience, recognizing that beetles and droughts and different things will happen over time. We want to give that forest as much of a chance as we can to be resistant or resilient to those effects. And then finally, and not to say the least important, but also important, is to provide local and regional economic benefits through the harvest of forest products. So those are our 5 needs. So this is just a picture of our interdisciplinary team out in the woods. So that team has members of wildlife biology, fisheries biology, hydrology, archaeology, all of the ologies, right? We all get out there together, and this is what we refer to as internal scoping. And so through this process, I might get together with the fuel specialist and say, hey, we really want to treat this particular draw or canyon. And then the fisheries biologist comes up and says, hey, that's a really important habitat for this fish species. And so that's that internal scoping process that takes place. And then we did our external. And then we did our external scoping. So back in March of 21, we held 2 open house meetings, and it was still, you know, pretty much the COVID timeframe. And so these were outdoor meetings. One was in Clinton and one was in Drummond. And the reason for that was because we wanted to get into those communities. We wanted to be right there where the people who were living on this landscape could attend the meeting as easily as possible. And they were pretty well attended, I would say. I mean, we had a fair number of folks show up and give us their feedback, which was super helpful. And we even got a mention in the Missoulian at that time. So after all that, you know, background planning, that internal and external scoping, we developed the actual proposed action. And this was not a one and done scenario. There was quite a lot of back and forth that went into this. And so, you know, back in the fall of 21, we reduced the proposed action by about 4,500 acres. That's nearly 20% of the BLM ownership in that landscape. And the purpose for that was to reduce the road building that was proposed and to avoid building roads in any unroaded parcels. In other words, a parcel that didn't have a road going into it, we wanted to try and avoid building new roads into those, assuming that it wasn't near, and assuming that that wasn't, you know, adverse to some other proposed purpose. So what I'm saying there is it's outside of the wildland urban interface.
Wasn't your thought though there, that one time I was listening to you guys, it wasn't you, but even when you're talking like you didn't want, you rehab everything anyway, so what's the difference if you know, it makes it more feasible to build a road in, take care of it, and then you rehab it, or at least you have access if there is a fire. I thought you guys were gonna kind of look and go the other way on that.
I'm not sure I'm quite understanding the question.
Why, you're sitting there, you know, you said that about building roads in the place, wasn't it feasible better to build a road in and you have access in there than that?
Oh,
And
I see. Yeah, there's definitely.
rehab them anyway.
Not all of the roads proposed are temporary. So as we get into this a little bit further, actually the majority of the roads in this project are proposed as permanent. And that's a large part of the reason is for future management, whether that's fire, you know, firefighting or reforestation or whatever.
Asking you that, because that's what it was talked about before, so that's.
Yeah.
Feel sick, but you just were talking that you didn't know about building roads in and that, that's why I brought that up, it was brought out before.
So there's a fair bit of compromise, as you can imagine. And while we recognize that there's a forest health need to treat those 4,500 acres, we also recognize that that secure habitat is critically important to grizzly bear and a number of species. And so, you know, that's kind of the give and take that we go through, especially in the consultation process with the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service. So I don't argue that there wouldn't be a good reason to manage those lands. But in this project, we felt that it was important to leave them untreated at this time. Does that make sense?
Not really, I don't agree. That's about what you got going, it's to make them happier, and then you'll step back a little bit just to keep everybody on float and happy.
Yeah, I mean, I guess, Aaron, you know, feel free, but it is a collaborative process, right?
That's putting it
Yeah,
out.
and I think.
I know how that process is working, I dealt with that, and I understand what you're doing now. I mean, I'd like to see more mining, logging and stuff up there and around and all this, but it's always, you gotta give a lot more than you get to take.
Yeah, and I think, I mean, as Kyle said, and it is kind of walking, sort of threading the needle there. So, you know, the project is one of the largest projects we've put forward in a while. It's 19,000 acres of treatment. over a 240,000, I think, acre planning area. And so, you know, that is a much larger scale project than we've put out to the public in years past. And with that comes attention and a lot of discussion, negotiation, and compromise, like Kyle said. So this, you know, is really an opportunity for us to meet those critical needs, especially in Fire Management Zone 1 in the wildland urban interface for community protection, while, you know, still having a chance of success in terms of moving forward with this project. So it's a balancing act for sure. And I think the way that it's been designed is, you know, we're going to meet those needs, meet our objectives for that area, and, you know, still be able to produce forest products, which are, you know, going to will certainly benefit, you know, operations in Granite County, like Sun Mountain and Post and Rail and whatnot.
How many acres you feel that will really come out in this proposal you got going?
Yeah, let me keep moving forward, just a little bit.
A few more minutes, that's why we can ask some questions, that was the whole deal here.
Oh, you want, okay, all right, no worries then. So let me jump through a few of these slides. Okay, so this is our proposed treatment right here. So our actual full suite of treatments would be 19,147, like Aaron was mentioning. So of that, there's just under 10,000 acres of timber harvest with prescribed fire. And then we have the non-commercial thinning, prescribed fire, limber pine enhancement, and fuels management. To facilitate those treatments, we are proposing, I'll skip ahead a little bit here. We are also proposing 6 miles of temporary road and 16 miles of permanent road. And so those temporary roads, they have to be removed within a lifespan of 3 years. But those permanent roads, we would be closing them off and leaving them on the landscape for future management use. Does that get at what you were asking?
Yeah, kind of. It's hard to understand when you're not looking somebody in eye to eye and then you can go, you know, a point and say, well, why wouldn't you? Yeah, yeah.
And Kyle, might be helpful too to put it into context in terms of an estimate of board feet or, you know, non biomass forest products that come out of the project.
Yeah. So, you know, the typical harvest that we see on the Missoula field office produces about 5,000 board feet to the acre. And, you know, these are some examples of harvests that we've done in the last couple of years. And so that 5,000 board feet to the acre across, you know, almost 10,000 acres is going to produce close to 50 million board feet. And so that 50 million board feet across the next 10 years, because I am anticipating this will take about 10 years to fully implement.
10 years?
I'm sorry?
You said next 10 years.
It'll take about 10 years.
Okay. Go ahead, sorry, I guess that's a
Yep.
problem. You got questions, we're still going. Go ahead.
So, yeah, so, you know, that measurement there, million board feet, is primarily speaking to wood that'll be utilized at mills like Sun Mountain or Pyramid, those larger sawmills. And then in addition to that would be a much higher number. I don't have a estimate off the top of my head, but would be a much higher number of tons that would be utilized for post and rail at places like Findler or firewood. There's been quite a resurgence in firewood interest lately. And so we've got a number of firewood yards going all over, as well as the paper chips that are going to be processed and produced up at Willis and Bonner there. So I have personally spoken to folks at both Sun Mountain and Pyramid about this project, and they do feel that it's very, very important for the BLM to be putting forward projects like this and recognize the economic impact on these communities from projects like this.
I hope you're not thinking I'm against that. I'm not, that's not what I'm saying. I'm totally for, that's why we're having you on here. I didn't say I'm against this. No. I never.
Yeah, I don't, that's not what we interpreted at all. And I think Kyle's just, sharing with you, and the BLM compared to our Forest Service neighbors, we're a relatively small player. We're small land, small area of lands that we manage. And yet we consistently hear from our industry partners that Kyle just mentioned that we fulfill a really important niche in terms of consistently being able to offer up these sales that while they don't produce a lot of board feet, like some of those sales that are coming out of off the Forest Service, but we are reliable and consistently being able to offer those sales that sort of help them fill the gap year after year. So that's often the feedback that we get. And while it doesn't seem like a lot, I think it is a really important piece to that industry puzzle.
I agree with
Yeah.
you. Got a whole bunch of background people talking.
I apologize if it's noisy behind me. Well, we can.
Best thing to do here is, sometime maybe we could meet face to face or guy can come down and see you or something, just because this. Yeah.
Okay.
And is that is that Commissioner Adler speaking?
Yeah.
Okay. What we could do too is if you all were interested, it might be best to meet out in the field in the project area. And we would be happy to meet you there, and we could look at a couple of the treatment areas and talk about and see in real terms, exactly what we're looking at out there on the landscape and what the treatments might look like. So I'd put that offer out there. Obviously, might have to wait for snow to come off, and then if folks wanted to meet before that, that's fine too.
Yeah, I'd really be up for that, because then you're hands-on and then we can talk about stuff and that, well, why don't you do this, or why are we doing that, or whatever. It'd be way better than.
Exactly.
Great presentation, don't get me wrong there on that, but it's hard to look at the map and read and think, well, why did, just little stuff. It's not that I'm judging what you're doing, I'm all for it, we need more.
I appreciate that.
Okay.
And, and I think we're moving along, and as Kyle kind of explained where we're at in the process. And what I shared with Billy last week, we were in a comment period on the EA. We did receive quite a few comments, especially after some interesting opinion pieces in the Missoulian that were very much against this project. And quite frankly, had inaccurate information about the project. It was, it just didn't portray a good, inaccurate picture to the public on exactly what we were proposing to do. So, we felt like it was important, since most of the treatments do lie in Granite County, to circle back with you all, check in, see how you were feeling about the project, and share sort of updates on that. As we work through those comments, we get our team together. We'll go through each and every one of those comments and respond to them. But right now, and some of those comments have been very substantive and constructive in terms of cueing us in on things that we maybe need to look a little closer at. But right now we're feeling really good about how this project was designed, the level of input that we had from the public earlier on in the process. And really, that it's designed in a way that's going to meet those objectives. And we'll continue to be open to folks' input. So although the public comment period for the EA has ended, we're always open to receiving thoughts that you might have or input that you might have. And of course, we have a couple more steps in terms of that decision, coming out with a decision that will be out there for public review as well.
Okay, well, thanks for the update.
Thanks,
Guess we move
thanks
on.
for your time.
Yeah, thanks
And
very much.
we'll definitely, earmark a spot this spring or early summer to, invite you all out onto the ground and see what's being planned out there.
Okay, sounds good.
Elena has a comment.
Comment. Elena, Elena, go ahead.
Thank you. For the record, this is Elena Gagliano. I want to thank the two of you for this presentation. And Kylie, I started to write down your email and I got up to KG Johnson at, can you just finish that for me?
Yeah, of course. So my email is KD as in dog Johnson at blm.gov.
Thank you. Again, thank you very much for your time.
Yeah, appreciate you guys getting on or allowing us to get on. Thanks.
Okay, thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Thanks so much. Have a good day.
You too. Where's Scott?
I don't know. You have chat here though.
Hmm?
You have chat here.
There he is.
Morning, Tad.
Good morning, commissioners. How are you?
Good morning. How are you?
Morning. Good morning. Go ahead. Okay. All right, I'm gonna give mostly a November report still, because I have not reported out for December to the board. But a lot of this is updated too, as far as COVID information. So as far as the COVID-19 update, and local update, the Granite County COVID-19 community level is now considered low this time, with 2 active cases at a rate of 59.19 per 100,000. We do continue to screen employees and visitors, as well as massive in the hospital this time. As of 1/13, January 13th, there were 750 new confirmed cases in Montana last week. And according to the Montana response map, we are now at 324,726 total cases for Montana, 1,020 active cases in Montana, 45 active hospitalizations, and 3,630 deaths in the state. Vaccine rates in Granite County are at 39%, and Montana remains at 53% of its eligible population fully vaccinated. We are currently out of the bivalent Moderna vaccine and having difficulty getting there at this time. For monkeypox status, there have been 7 cases of monkeypox identified in Montana, and that remains unchanged for the last 2 minutes. To the hospital and long-term care area. We continue to see cases of flu and RSV in the community. With the uptake of viruses and other emergent needs, this has created a very busy place for us at this time. One Friday, we had 9 ER patients, and at one time we had 5 at the same time. This was very, very challenging considering we only have 2 EDs. The following Monday, between the clinic and ER, we saw 16 patients in one day. So
That's flu.
a lot of flu and RSV, yeah. I mean, these are different things, but the majority is. On our long-term care side, our long-term care residents had a very nice Thanksgiving dinner prepared for them in November. We also entered the van in the light parade, and the residents that wanted to participate were able to ride in the night parade. Resident smiles could be seen by everyone on the street. They had a great time. Along with normal activities such as brain exercises, bingo, flex and stretch, music with Jay, among other activities, residents were very busy with holiday crafts and Christmas decorating around the facility. The hospital was looking rather festive, as there were decorated trees and wreaths for everyone to enjoy in multiple areas. We took holiday pictures, we read short stories, and we sang Christmas songs. The residents also wrote Christmas cards to staff and families.
And our team decorated a tree for the festival of trees as well. Santa made an appearance at our Christmas party to deliver presents to all of our residents. The department reports, clinics have been very busy, and Ron Ham has started seeing patients in Drummond on Tuesdays. And Ron is the provider that will legally branch into Drummond, consistently full-time on with the provider that will be doing that. So he's building those relationships now. In dietary, our lock-in refrigerator freezer upgrade is now complete, and the connections were made for the app to monitor temperatures and alarms remotely. This allows us to see possible issues before they become a problem, and also alerts us to what the issue is with the equipment. We did have an issue immediately where one of the compressors went out within the first week, but that was of course covered by warranty, and we're able to get it replaced, so all is well now. IT has been working on several projects, including our call tree, to direct patients as quickly and as easily as possible with their call destinations. That is still a work in progress, and we are still having some calls. For maintenance and transportation, the majority of the flooring project is now finished, with only a few rooms near the base doors to complete the project. With the cold weather, also seems to bring newly found maintenance issues. We've been dealing with ice buildup in the gutters and downspouts, which is causing ice to find its way into areas of the roof and cause leaks. We are working to find solutions, and we're working with the roofing company that provided our new coating within the last year, I believe a year and a half, to find a solution. But it looks like it will include new electrical circuits and thermostats for heat tape. We've also been having some issues with heating certain areas of the facility and hospital, and we're trying to get that changed around with Johnson Controls. In human resources, current positions open. We have one part-time environmental services position for the Drummond Clinic. We still have a board clerk position open. We have an RN charge nurse for nights and an RN charge nurse for day position. We still have a director of nursing position. We have 4 CNA positions, 2 on days, 2 on nights. However, we did just fill one of our CNA positions with a permanent position, as we took a dietary worker that we trained, and she passed her boards to become a CNA recently. That was silly. So we're pretty proud of her for doing that. We have one other yeah, she did it with integration.
With Selena, my daughter, that decided to be a CNA.
Yeah, and so we've got a environmental services worker right now that we're training, and she's going to be testing next week. So hopefully she does well, and she'll fill another CNA position at that point. We have a medical assistant position open for the Drummond Clinic right now, and we have a full-time mid-level provider position open, but we have filled our part-time positions for the available providers. We welcome Dr. Hunter Cross as our new medical director with the incoming new year. We're very excited to have Dr. Cross on our medical team. Dr. Cross is already a member of our community and is also excited for the opportunity to contribute to our healthcare here in Granite County. We do thank Dr. Ryder for his service and wish him the best in his future endeavors. We've also signed contracts with 3 new mid-level providers. Chris Parksfield is a nurse practitioner, currently provides care at Ruby Valley Hospital, but has a house here in Phillipsburg, so he'll be filling in for us. We have Casey Shantz, who is a certified PA, who works at the Townsend Hospital, who lives in Helena. And Sierra Zimmer is another PA that lives in Butte, and currently she does a week a month in Ekalaka, and so she'll be providing services here as well. But these will be part of our own team and our own contracts. These are not welcome, so just be filling in. They're all excellent providers, though. We feel very fortunate to have them join our staff. The medical staff, as I spoke with, we will have credentialing for our January meeting coming up for these new appointees. For nursing census, we had 33 ER visits in November. We had 19 long-term care patients. Our swing beds is what we've been trying to really improve. We used to do maybe 0 to maybe 3 a month of swing beds. For November, we had 54 swing bed days, 4 observation days, 15 acute care days for 73 acute bed days. So that's a big change for us. We had 0 adult daycare visits and 0 deaths for the month. Our clinic in Peaburg saw 213 visits. We have Drummond saw 24 for November. Physical therapy had 89 visits total, 77 was being outpatient. We completed 8 CT scans in November. However, I do know our statistics for December was 26 CT scans, so they got to take theirs. Good job, so. Any question?
No, good job. Okay. Good report.
Okay. All right.
Hope everything's going good. Keep it up.
All right. Well, thank you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Have a good day.
Thank you.
I'd entertain a motion on claims.
Good. I'll make a motion that we accept claims for December.
Let's second.
Any public comment? Being none, all in favor?
Aye.
Thanks. Motion carried.
So in a nutshell. The BLM thing is they've got project coming in to get board feet out. Of where they designated on that. Okay, so that would be kind of money in loggers' pockets there.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, we don't get nothing, that just,
Which is good.
oh, yeah, I was for it, I wasn't, that's like, that guy, I wasn't against what he was doing, I just.
No, it's good what you're doing, it's just they're not doing enough,
Right.
not a volume.
Well, that's the thing, when it says 10 years, 50 million, but then you break it down, you don't really actually, that's, I was trying to figure out how much are they really gonna, if they're going for 50 million, they're gonna end up with 17 million. Seems like it's,
Oh, yeah,
that's, that's why I was just kind of curious where they would. I'd give them a letter of support to move and go do that stuff, I mean,
So the area. Is only a little area,
19,000 acres, yeah.
so that's little.
I thought you said
19,000.
19,000?
yeah, but some of that is
No,
broadcast burning and.
yeah, it's not all just logging.
No.
That's why they brought up that environmental this and studying this and crazy.
You know, and they wanted the 50 million, like you say, that'll go down to 25. And then they go all that, and I don't totally understand the tonnage stuff. I mean. That's a joke, as far as I'm concerned, that ton stuff started after I was done. And, but where's the Fendler getting there wrong with that?
Well, he was there. They were getting up from Sun Mountain and Parks is within now, I see them hauling most of it down to, they get better money down the video. So they're hauling, so I don't know, we're pretty much getting us.
Is he our only sawmill?
Postal yard.
Oh, postal
Right
yard.
there.
So is there any, like the old days, just people coming in with,
I haven't seen nobody haul a load of poster poles in and,
yeah, I haven't seen anything on the highway.
when,
That's horrible.
when these bigger companies started, they got these different equipment now and they can handle it so much easier than that. Yeah, they don't even waste their time putting out 10 loads for post and pole work. There's a lot of people around this county survived on that.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It was a good deal. He made some good money and it was hard work, but now, I haven't seen a post and pole because they throw them all in together. And that's where that tonnage comes, because then they'll have the,
Yeah.
That's, yeah, it's. There's so many things that stop something going ahead that, yeah, they might get out, maybe. And then the worst thing, they'll take away from one thing and then, oh, well, you can do this dead stuff over here, and then that's just not feasible. That's why a lot of these are getting turned back. It's sad.
Do they bid sales anymore, or is it all negotiated?
It's a set price. And yeah, that's, I don't know how they do it, it's crazy.
Back in the day, they were bidded, the timber sales. And so then, the government made money,
Yeah.
cause.
Well, I think they
Somebody-
still bid it the way, but there's a set price on it that you have to meet, and then you gotta come up with so darn much money down to get the job. You're buying the job. And then you're sitting on this big bond and stuff out there, like the old days, it's way worse now, and then. And then they control you and you can do this and then you got pieces, but can't, it's just so much.
Back in the day, they had small business administration sales. And, so little guys. Weren't left out, big guys can bid everything, and take everything.
Well, that's why,
Certain amount, and now I think they don't have that.
no, that's why he said that he's been talking to Sutton Mountain and Heron Pit, because them are the big, they're the only some, and they can get the whole sale. Where usually, you could pick up a 25 unit sale or something just to keep moving, but now it's okay, that small. SBA stuff anymore, I haven't heard about it in years. Well, there's nobody small anymore, these guys are always mechanical stuff and pumping out 30 to 50 loads a day, it's like. It just gets away, that's all it is. Alrighty. We'll go into we got a couple of minutes, Granite County. Credit card policy discussion decision, I think we have it here. I'm started reading it.
That's the current one too.
Uh-huh.
This is your current one. Becky had a proposed change and she was going to come in.
Okay. I'll get a couple minutes. Like that bottom one there, where it said not all employees will be issued a credit card assignment by county commission. Well, sometimes don't they let us just get it out of there? We don't know, right?
No, which one are you,
Is that the usually free of
one or more general credit cards?
this one right here?
I think it's just, what number?
No, not all employees will be issued.
So absolutely
No,
none.
but it was said assignment by county commissioners based on the need to purchase pre-approved material. So like if that card that they have in there, is that like for women and stuff or how that?
Yeah, I think if you have to get a room, I think you go through Becky and she does it all. Or you go through that office if you have to rent a room or
I
something.
just did it with my own credit card.
Oh.
When I made my reservations for Nico.
Or you could do it that way and yeah,
I've always done it that way.
yeah.
So, yeah, I mean. Probably would have been easier on my credit card just to go in and do it. With the county credit card, but from what I understand, they had to get a new one.
Well, that's, yeah.
Oh, that's right. That's why this is on here. That's right.
So what did she change or?
I'm gonna go grab her.
I'm going. So the road department has one, county health has one,
Courthouse have one, right?
and there's courthouse. And the sheriff's office just uses the courthouse and they're fine with that. So we have 3 credit cards, correct?
Becky will be the one to ask. I'm not
Or
certain.
do we
I
have
think,
4?
I know there's one in Becky's office, public health and road.
Yeah, so
Is that it?
3.
I think that's it.
And that, we discussed the sheriff's office, but they're fine with using the court.
Yeah, we went through that while they were all.
Oh, Becky,
How are you? So I'm here because we had an unauthorized charge on Amazon account for $169 on the county building credit card. So as you know, we have 3 different credit cards, one for the county building, one for the road crew, one for public health. So the one for the county building is utilized pretty primarily in the county in the courthouse and then the sheriff's office also. What ends up happening is, and here's an example, or it's not an example, it is the sign out sheet for the card. So when somebody needs to use the card, I have them come to me, sign it out. I give them the card, they go use it, they bring it back, they tell me what they purchased, with what vendor, that kind of stuff. Somehow or other. And as you can see on the top of that sign out sheet, it says no Amazon charges. Because what happens is, if I were to take that card into my Amazon account and purchase paper for my office. Well, then it stays attached to my Amazon account. Right, so then the next time I go in and buy a pair of shoes, if I'm not careful and look at what credit card has defaulted. It could be the county card because it remembers that card number, and so I could be buying my new shoes on the county credit card. So there was a $169 purchase for a bookstore. Now, I don't know if that was inadvertent, that somebody had actually purchased $169 bookstore stuff. Or if we had gotten hacked. I don't know. I have a claim in with our Visa card. They're refunding us that $169. They're going to do the investigation on it, so. I have since canceled that card, ordered a new card, so we have a new card. The issue that I have is that obviously has used that card on an Amazon account. And so I can't really track who's doing that. So, I don't know.
Did people out of the courthouse buy stuff through Amazon?
Yeah,
Is that what you're saying?
yeah, so they'll go on Amazon and they'll look
So
for,
that card number for the, I'm just saying that somebody could have hacked it, maybe.
could have. I mean, they could have, I don't know, I mean. Playing devil's advocate, I would like to say that that's what happened, that it wasn't an employee who inadvertently used it, so. I asked the normal folks who tend to borrow the card or use the card, I asked them and they all said no, it wasn't them, so.
So what do you want to change on this, Becky?
So what I would like is if they're ordering something, if they're taking the card to Walmart to purchase stuff for the county building or whatever, great, here's the card, take it. But if they're doing an online purchase, bring it to me, I'll make the order for them. So that there's not a possibility of a copy of the card getting out. Because
And you're willing to do that if they're willing to give it to you.
Well, I don't really see any other. I don't see any other way, because this is, we've had to replace the card a few times for this same reason. And I don't know what else to do.
So the one thing that would, no Amazon would be just for the courthouse card, right? Because the county health uses it, Amazon.
Do they?
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Well, and that, that one's a little easier to track because there's only that one department using it, right?
Yeah.
So we have several departments using the same card. So that's where it becomes an issue if I can't figure out where a charge has come from. I have to then, which I don't mind doing, figuring out where it comes from. But when it's Amazon, it's almost impossible for me to figure out because you know, short of us having a county Amazon account that somebody could log into and purchase their county supplies with. You know, that's something to look at too, maybe, I guess. I don't really know. Or we just put out a memo to every single person that this new card is no longer available to use on Amazon. And
Is that like that there? Had that always no Amazon?
this has been on there since before Mike was gone. So it's been on there a long time.
No Amazon.
Yeah,
For the courthouse.
yeah.
Because obviously we must have trouble over the years back here.
Yep, and that's exactly what happened. This is why I put this on here in the first place. When Mike had the issue with it, he drew this up, or he asked me to draw this up, and so I did. And it, I mean, I could probably look back and see.
You have something drafted up then, or do you wanna write something in here and then read? Print this, the Grand Card, this one?
Is that the,
That's our current credit card policy.
okay. So, yeah, if we could just, I mean, if we would just do an amendment to that or something that says, you know. Whatever, I mean, I don't know what you guys wanna say or how you wanna do it. This is the issue that I'm having. I wanted to bring it to you. So I have. October 24th of 2020 is one of the first ones that I have with this on there. So it's been a little over 2 years that it's been on there.
Well, we could put an amendment in here just to read and have it for next week, put it on the beginning of the draft website.
How would you put it in there? The clerk and recorder's office will supervise any internet purchases on credit card?
Which I,
The clerk and recorder's office will supervise any purchases on using any internet purchases on the courthouse credit card.
And they could write this up, maybe,
I can email back and forth with Blaine.
yeah. And then we can put it on there for next week, and then we can do the discussion decision, make sure you got what you want on there and what we are.
Is that, how you want it, how would you want it worded?
So if that's what you wanna have them do, is just bring it to me with an online purchase. And I could then either. Say, yes, go ahead and order that, or I'll do that for you, you know, just to verify that it isn't in fact with Amazon.
So would you want her to talk to Blaine and how to write this, or talk to Billy and then go through Blaine and then how it, so it's the right way on here, so we're doing the.
yeah,
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I can go between Billy and Blaine and myself and discuss.
All
What it should look like.
Move it to next week to
Yeah,
approve.
Okay,
I agree with you.
okay,
sounds good, thank you.
thank you.
So would you call out a table?
Yeah. The decision was to table for next week, so we have a,
The amendment.
okay, drafted employee memo.
Yeah.
We have that here, I read that over, this is a letter that we all agreed on sending out to each one, and road supervisor said too, you know, everybody signed it, so that way we have proof they all read it and know what's going on.
Yes, and Blaine and I worked together to draft this last week.
I like it, I guess, you know, it's just, I guess sooner the better, so we have it in, and then we put each one of them in each one's
Personnel file.
Okay, so. This is. Telling them. Pretty much that they can't order. On any. County vendor. Anything personal.
And then they'll get them back in here, each one, the department, and that'll get them back to us, and we can sign them, and then put them into the personal files.
Yep. They'll sign them and have to have them back to me by the end of the month, basically, and I'll make sure I have them all.
Good with that?
Yeah, so we need a motion.
Yeah,
I would make a motion that. We accept the drafted employee memo. For the employee to sign and be back in their personnel file. What, one by the end of the month?
Yeah, I think I put on there the 27th at the end of there.
I feel like I should just move in here with you guys today.
Getting your exercise.
I know, right? Any public comment,
No,
being none, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Okay, the next one is, this, I didn't know if we needed, since we're a little bit ahead, that if we could maybe call or text Blaine and ask him what is he good on giving this stuff out? Cause remember we were talking like this as a. We were gonna say something, or we were, or that's.
Oh, in the wording,
I
it's
know,
already out there.
but no, but what are we giving them at this?
and then, so this is for the Chris Brown report from Allied Engineering. This is the report that he
Oh, okay.
drafted, his expert opinion. So basically Northwestern Energy, it's something that Blaine thinks we should provide to them, but it does have a lot of information in it that is,
That's why I thought.
that we don't want to release, so he thinks they need to.
It goes out to the public then once you do that, so.
No, it would just go to them, but we would have them sign a non-disclosure agreement, was my understanding with Blaine, but I haven't received a copy.
Okay, and
of
that's
the
pertaining
non-disclosure.
to litigation, right?
Yes.
That we have going now. Or don't have going now with hydrodynamics. So they want the information,
And look,
what is going on with hydrodynamics with Granite County, is that what you're saying?
And just overall information about the dam. Northwestern Energy wanted to review that.
there's some stuff in there, you know, that we were, it's personal, something we're holding. Because we can go to court with
So
it.
Blaine said we should do this.
Yeah, I don't know if you wanted to wait until, I don't know, I'm not certain, but this was something that Blaine had me put on the agenda for you
Can we
guys to
text or-
discuss.
He said if we need anything, we can call or text it, maybe, because if it's something that we need to get over to him, not wait for a couple weeks, I don't think Blaine will be back for a couple weeks.
Do you have a problem with releasing
I
Point
did,
Creek project information to Northwestern Energy?
well, I didn't know if, it's not the problem of giving it to them, this is, we give this out. If we have to use this in litigation, or something, are we giving out what?
So does that,
what we
is that what the
said?
non-disclosure means?
Yeah,
Is that they can't disclose anything?
Correct.
That
It
was
legally
what I-
protects us.
Sure, that's
Yeah.
what I didn't.
Yeah, they would have to sign a
Okay,
non-disclosure
okay.
agreement.
Yeah.
Correct.
So I think, do we understand that's what that means?
Yes,
So
So
and
there's no reason,
we would be legally protected. They
I
couldn't
just
share
wanted
it.
to make sure
Yeah.
that we did.
Yeah.
I didn't quite understand the reading,
Mhm.
okay,
so on a motion on that.
okay, so I make a motion that we release Point Creek project information to Northwestern Energy and a non-disclosure agreement.
Any public comment on that one?
No.
Being none, all in favor? Motion been carried and done. Thank you for explaining that. I guess they don't want quite sure.
Right,
What they're getting
Yeah.
out to go at this closure, I think it's that. So, guess we can jump, yeah, we'll jump ahead to acquiring a new county vehicle discussion decision. I see it's here. Is that what we're looking into is a brand new one? Or
Yes.
okay, I wasn't
and
quite
this is what our auditor suggested. That if we're going to have a company vehicle, that we should just get a new one instead of getting somebody else's problem. And I would suggest that we have the funds, extra funds. I would suggest that because we have set our policy to, if there's a company vehicle available and you choose to take your own, then the mileage will be different.
Okay. I got some math here and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong. But if we spent $40,000 on a new rig. We save. Approximately 20 cents a mile. What were the difference between your own and
Okay, that's-
69, I think 69 or
It's
65.
not gonna pay for itself. It's the fact that we now have a company vehicle that we can use. And so it does save a little bit of money using that company vehicle, but that is not a dependable company vehicle.
Yeah,
And in the statute,
it's the way I see it, I mean, it can take, so if that new rig was run for 10,000 miles a year, which I don't think it would do. And we saved approximately 20 cents a mile. And we're gonna save more than that, because we're not paying mileage.
so let's see, it's 48% of 65.5 starting in January, 48% is what would be paid.
2,400.
Okay, where's your calculator?
There's a calculator, I can't do that. Anybody?
So what's 48% of 65.5?
Now, 65.
65.5 times
32.
0.485 equals, so it's 31 cents, 0.76 cents.
Pretty good guess, I know.
What'd you think?
We both
at
looked
32.
at it and said 32.
32%.
I think.
Is what we'd be paying for mileage. So 31.76 is what we'd be paying. So that's like 50% of the 65 point.
And I didn't I don't know if we meant to buy one that was gonna save, you know, we know it's not gonna pay
Yeah.
for itself, but
Right.
just to have something that's actually dependable, and
Yes.
maybe more people would
Yes.
use their county rig.
So here,
That's mine, I know.
Yeah.
it's-
here's the
You know, and
suggestion.
here's another thing I got. Back in the day when I used to work for another government agency, I was recommended to carry a rider on my insurance. It cost me more insurance because I was driving a government car.
Well, apparently we must have something covered with our insurance because we do have a company car and we do use it. And
it covers anybody that's in it.
yeah, anybody that's in it.
I do remember that.
Yeah. Here's the
They
thing.
picked up people like that time when we went to do Tri-County meetings and that, and there was all big, they pick us up home to Anaconda or come up here, we all rolled up it. So I know everybody's covered in it.
I'm just saying, we have the funds to do it. It's recommended that if we're going to do it, get something decent, and why not just get a new one? Okay, so we're not gonna make any money, save any money, but I know the sheriff's office uses what we have out there. What is that? What we have. I am going to use that to go to the midwinter conference, but it has to be worked on and tires put on it because it's sitting there. So it'd be great if I were going to use something that's available and doesn't have to be worked on before I use it. So are you against us buying a new vehicle? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I don't think we need it, I mean.
I do, I think we need one.
Well, I think everybody's got, you know, and this is a good discussion. Like I said, I know this ain't gonna pay for itself and nothing, but you know, it's a benefit to our workers and stuff too, that you have a decent rate to go and maybe more people go to stuff than I don't. That's it. I'm
Yeah,
still,
they
I wanna
drive
drive
over there, you're going at, you're at the Colonial Inn and now and then, and you wanna go across town, you can't even go across town by.
Well, then you choose to take your own vehicle and you get less mileage.
That's why.
And you get less mileage.
Yeah.
So I'm not gonna be taking this, I'd never take this thing.
Well, then you get less mileage.
Yeah.
So
So,
but we're not talking about saving any money. It's getting a decent vehicle because the sheriff's office really wants this because they send their people all the time. And if they can send, like even, for an example, Paul going to his road thing, they have a big enough vehicle, they all can go in one vehicle. So,
well, they're not gonna do that, because
well, that's it. They
I
don't
think
do it.
these are
Then
just the options that we're putting out
Yeah.
there. If they did, and if we had something decent, they can, if they did. I mean, I'm not forcing nobody to take a county car, because I like driving my own, because if I want to leave early or take off and go do something, I mean, that's all our. That's why we get less money, and I understand that totally. I don't have a problem with that. I have a very ability, I can come and go as I, to stay in one spot or see it downtown, well, what the hell is he doing downtown with that car?
So here's your philosophy. The philosophy is we've already decided that if you choose to take your own vehicle, then you're getting less mileage. That's statute. It's in the statute. We've already decided that.
That's our priority.
Yeah. So what we're saying now is we do have a company vehicle. It's not dependable. So they're gonna take their own vehicle and get less mileage. Which, okay, wear and tear on their vehicle, but I think we need to have a dependable vehicle. I think it might not pay for itself, but we do have some extra money. And I think that it should be available.
I thought we were gonna have a discussion on how to spend that.
Well, that's what we're having right now. We can use this to spend on it.
Yeah, I know, but I thought we were gonna have a separate discussion. On everything else we wanted to do with that. money.
Well, we can, but right now, we're starting a new year, we've set policy, so we need a decision on whether or not we're gonna have a decent vehicle. To set this policy, or they're not gonna get they're, you know, it's. I make a motion, we do purchase a vehicle for a company vehicle, and we decide between these two. Bids.
Well, I totally agree. I think we need something, I'm not against that. I just, and I just wanna know that if we're not being forced to take it. I think that's where a lot of people in the world got this,
No.
not taken. We're not saying that.
And it says right in the statute, if you choose to take your own vehicle, and you may choose to take your own vehicle.
Oh, yeah, I know, you can, but you're getting cheated.
But
You're getting cheated.
yeah, you're getting cheated or take the company car.
No,
It's available. You're talking pennies that you're getting cheated out of taking your own vehicle. Because you're getting cheated. Out of 31 cents.
so how many times would this be used?
I'm sure it'd be used a lot.
Well, these are.
That's because nobody wants to drive it, and then half the time they go out, they won't start. I mean, that's the problem with that, the old one, and then.
Okay, so you're coming out saying, no, you don't want to get a company vehicle. Is that what you're saying?
Well, let's change the rules. You can take a company vehicle, or you can take your own and still get.
No, you're going to statute with the rules. We're not gonna change the rules. Just because you wanna save, you want more money because you're gonna take your vehicle and you're absolutely refusing to take a company vehicle. And you're getting cheated because you're happen to get less mileage on your vehicle. What you're saying to me. Is that correct?
Basically.
Yeah.
I feel the same, but I'm just like Chuck, though, I wanna take my own. That's.
So you feel you're getting cheated.
Well, no, not cheated,
Okay.
I just know if that's our option to take it, I don't cheat.
And it is right there in statute. Should you choose, you may choose to take your own.
I know one thing, if a guy gets his car and that, it's gotta be took care of and
Absolutely.
cleaned out, and when somebody takes it, it's gonna be something.
Yeah, somebody gotta be in charge of it.
That's
And the
all.
clerk and recorder's office has already offered to keep track of it because they keep track of the vehicle now. When I requested the vehicle that we do have to take to midwinter, I talked with Sarah and she said, oh, we're gonna have to put the winter tires on and check the battery. I said, okay. She said, but we'll have it ready for you for midwinter conference, which is February 20th.
So do we wanna spend that much money and put, I don't know if we can have tires anymore for it. Do we want, if we're gonna get a new car, we sure the hell don't wanna be throwing new tires and battery in it.
The tires are already there, they're just not on it.
That's what I asked, I don't know if we have it,
Oh,
that's why I'm saying, we sure don't wanna go through a whole bunch of money and then if we're gonna buy a new car. And we shouldn't sell that one and sell whatever, and then take the money from whatever we get in.
yeah, so put that on the sale of bid.
So you can get an electric car or?
No, hell no. Please.
I would vote against it if we went like, I would, hands down.
I want to
I
like.
could run an extension cord. Oh, yeah.
So your motion is.
My motion is we purchase one of these vehicles that we have examples of for a county vehicle for
I think we
use
should-
by the employees happen to go to any kind of convention.
Kind of like when Blaine and I went to mediation that
Yeah.
night, we took his car. Did one, you know, the bad thing about me is that most of the stuff you go to, I'm down on that end, so I wouldn't drive up here 60 miles, 30 up and 30 back just to come get the car. I'm just gonna boot. And I don't want the responsibility of a new car.
I think they're gonna, and I have to drive in here, park my car in here, or have somebody drive, you know, then.
But are you seconding it?
I think we should wait until we have that discussion on what we're doing on.
This discussion would already been, we were discussing, we have these funds. This is part of the funds that we will use for this. So we don't have to wait for a discussion. We might as well start and have a vehicle that means we've stated that we're going to follow statute and we've got it here. We don't have to wait and just decide when we have this discussion because we have the
I
funds
think-
available at our discretion.
I do remember us talking though, and saying that, you know, this time. But that like the backhoe and stuff like that, I think we do need to have a sit down. And go through what we're gonna have to get.
Right.
You know, like in the road crew, whatever, if it's, that,
And yes, we do, we have to sit down and discuss, okay, what can we use this for, but. Right here, we can use this for a vehicle, for a company vehicle for the employees. To save wear and tear on their own, if they so choose.
so, no, second,
Okay, so I can come in with this rig. And go do a road patrol, or
Sure.
do the road, so I'll do up on all these old roads, put it in four-wheel drive. And I can do that.
yeah,
No. You get your mileage for the.
but
road.
no, if you didn't.
That isn't the
Wait a minute.
same thing.
If you needed to use it for that, yes, it's for that, I mean, you just gotta make sure you know.
Yeah, that's one reason why I don't do some of these roads, I don't want to tear my rig apart. Cause the mileage isn't enough,
I
Then-
didn't mind it.
you know, and I'm not gonna, and that's another thing.
We also have a four-wheel truck, don't we, that you could come in and take if you didn't want wear and tear on your vehicle? That you're getting mileage for right now,
Which,
because there isn't an available rig for you to go on these roads wear and tear. Keep it
I don't think they, you know, they pay enough mileage to go on these old roads anyway through their own rig.
Not the way you tear up, I blew a tire the other day, so there was 3 hours.
Okay. How much more discussion do we need on this when I've made my motion?
So what you're saying then, so if I went on road patrol and there was ones, that rig was sitting here, I'm gonna get 48% less. To go on road, well, I'm never gonna go on road patrol.
Well, you're not gonna get any mileage because you're taking this vehicle. And this isn't available for you to go inspect the roads. That has nothing to do with it. Road inspection
Yeah, it
is
is.
one of your job duties
That's a
that
county-
you
that's a-
get mileage for. But if we want to make it, if we want to say, okay, you can't use your own vehicle to go on your road inspections, you have to use the company vehicle or you're getting less. That is not even, this is for going to meetings, this is for,
Well, that's what you say, but I'm saying,
well, if you choose to, I guess you certainly can. And you wouldn't get any mileage at all.
I know, but at least you're saving on your own rig.
yeah, you know,
Then you could, I guess you could choose to do that.
to go up a red line, you ever been up a red line?
If you want to make it a policy that you have to, that you or you, I do not go inspect roads. I know I don't know what I'm inspecting, so I do not put in any request that I've inspected these roads with my Volvo.
We got,
So,
I got, well, how long have I had with it?
anyway.
so what you're saying, so. If I go up red line, I'm not gonna go up my own rig again. I mean, that's a horrible road.
You're making this insanely stupid.
No, I'm not.
Yeah, you are. That hasn't,
Let's not argue on one, let's just.
well, this is,
I know.
you're bringing in stuff that's not even pertinent to this. Because you already get full mileage for your truck to go wherever you choose to inspect, and apparently you don't inspect some of those
But now
roads.
you have the option, you could come take that.
So you're, no, what I'm saying is, now that thing's gonna be sitting there, if I don't take it, I'll get 48% less to go on roads.
No,
That
that
don't pay
is
me nothing.
because the policy would not pertain to you two taking your road inspections.
Not in road inspections, no, but going to a meeting, you do.
Yeah.
you go-
Going to meetings.
We're gonna put that in the.
Well, we have to apparently, or you're gonna say.
Yeah.
We can put that in, we can make up a policy when we get this, we probably don't want people taking it up, like you said, red line, or where I went up 10 mile and stuff like that.
Where you can't drive it.
So anyway, is there a second?
No.
I'll second it. Your public comment?
Can we choose one?
Elena has a comment.
Just one. Go ahead, Elena.
Okay, I just have a FYI side note. Riddick Field has 2 vehicles there. I rarely to never see them, either one being used. So maybe you can have a conversation with the airport board, and if you need to use that, you can use it. Because they're insured, and like I said, they sit there, and usually when I go by, they're still sitting there. Nobody uses them. So you'd save money, make a deal with them. They're under the county. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for your comment. I'm sorry.
The only thing I'd say for that is, I don't think they're really good vehicles.
That's,
I'm not even. We're going back right to that.
yeah.
On there, I'm not even, so, most of them carry the pass. I guess we're gonna be the one looking in to see which one we get.
So it's our decision.
I don't know.
Are you a Ford man or a Chevy man?
Trucks are Chevy, man, and GM.
So what do you? Not anymore.
Not anymore.
I go with Ford.
You're gonna go with
What's the
Ford?
price, what's the price difference, 39 to 40?
I came late to the party. Did you guys agree to purchase?
Yes.
The Chevy is 38. And whoops, sorry.
I'm sorry, I have one question. So that car currently will not start
I
because
know.
it needs a new battery. Do you want us to buy a new battery and make it run, or do you want us to not
No.
spend the money?
Well, that's what I just said, I don't wanna go put a whole bunch
Okay.
of.
Well, it might have to have a battery, but no tire.
The
Yeah,
tires
we
are
got a
already,
battery.
we already have the tires, right?
They're the tires that are on there, I think are relatively good tires, and I also believe that there's a set of studded tires for that. Right?
That's what Sarah said, that she'd want to put the studded tires on it because it's winter that haven't been.
If you
put
can
on.
trade it in.
I don't know how much they give, I just sell it on the silent thing and then what money you got, you put it in here.
Okay,
I mean, we need to get.
and then we'll do a silent bid. Can anybody do a silent bid on that? If we put it out for silent bid?
Not you and me, but yeah.
Why?
Anyway.
Why couldn't anybody?
Blaine told me I could, cause I was gonna bid on some of that, like them, cement things and all that. Cause it's a
And we can't. But my granddaughter needs a car.
We can.
She can, we can.
Oh, but she doesn't have any
God
money.
Anderson, no, I think
She's
our
only
fault, I'm not.
17.
Don't know what to tell you, but I guess now at this, whichever one, I don't know what's better. If you get electric car, I won't go for this.
Yeah, well, electric.
No.
I want an electric truck. Ford has one.
Anaconda Deer Lodge, their company cars are trucks.
No.
Okay, so here's the information. The 23 is cheaper. By what, a few bucks,
The Ford or the Chevy?
and it's a Chevy. Oh, no, 23 is Explorer.
23 is a mileage.
Oh, duh.
That 2023 Traverse is up there, but I don't know what,
And then the Explorer is a 22.
so.
And the Explorer is going for 39,240. And the Chevy is going for 38,560. Want to save some money?
When I worked for the RC, we had a Traverse and they're nice because they have the pilot seats. I don't know if that Explorer does, but they're nice because they're easier to walk into. You know, you can get into them and you're not climbing over a bench seat to get into the third row.
So you're saying 40.
Okay.
I don't know. I used to have an Explorer. My Explorer had all sorts of issues.
Maybe a person can
But
talk.
when I worked
you
at RC,
I
we
got a
had-
Chevy.
when I worked at RC, we had a Traverse for vehicle card.
If we're gonna pay for this all right in a lump sum, we might get a better deal. And we dealt with Chevy before we bought pickups through them. It might be something that we, well, I guess the sheriff went through some Ford place, but. Maybe just Chevy plates in Missoula, if you're gonna buy a lump sum out, I bet you we get a discount. We get, and then don't we get a
I was gonna say, can't we go through,
government
yeah,
Yeah, that is thing.
you know, so. We
So
wanna
I
make
say
sure
we give you-
before we go there, I just go through Chevy, because that's who we go to and buy. Pick up where the road, crew, but we get that break and then I think we need to. You know, we're gonna buy it right straight out, but I think we can probably get some more off of it. I don't know who wants to do that or.
I was gonna say, who's gonna wheel and deal?
Oh, yeah,
Well, you guys are,
Oh, man.
well, Sarah is then.
We need to really stick to our guns, because I know that they'll deal.
You wanna deal with them?
Yeah, I'll deal. with it.
Okay,
I'm not scared.
Which
you're
one?
not scared of them?
I think it sounds like you're saying Chevy.
I don't know. So I used to drive an Explorer and my Explorer had all sorts of problems. But when I worked out at the RC, we had a Traverse for our HR car and it was nice to haul people around in.
What's your opinion, Sean?
I don't
I
know.
don't care. I mean, I know the guys at Chevy.
I got a new car ordered. It's not a Chevy.
What is it?
A Toyota.
Are you gonna use it
Like-
like their roads?
No.
I had to throw it out.
Let's go with the Chevy because we know them, we dealt with them.
And you're
That's
gonna
the
wheel
Traverse,
and,
correct?
Yeah.
and you're gonna wheel and deal.
I'll figure out who to talk. to.
Okay, so you make a motion that we go with Chevy. And deal with them and purchase. A 2023 Traverse 1 LSAWN. And so you're saying no battery?
Well,
Oh,
I
you have to
didn't
put
know
battery,
tires. Yeah, we'll have to have a battery to sell.
at least charge it up.
It won't charge.
It won't.
So the
We
alternator.
tried to charge it, we tried to jump it, it won't do anything.
Okay, can I request a vehicle by the 20th? So that I have vehicles to drive to
February.
February 20th.
Wheel and deal.
February 20th.
Oh, that's my birthday.
Oh, is it? Maybe?
No, I'll get on this right away and see if they even have one. I don't think they do.
And if
I believe that was one of the reasons that Sarah pulled those, or Billy, somebody,
Sarah.
Sarah pulled those was because they were in stock.
I'll call them and see what, we could call them right now if you want.
you have a phone.
Oh, yeah. I'll just call them, take care of it. Thanks. Is that all right, you guys?
Is that all right that we get the Chevy?
Well, I don't know, what's got me worried about this car is maybe we could have Steve come over and look at it and make sure it ain't the alternator or something. I just don't
I
want to.
appreciate that thought, but we have a pickup truck that Steve's looked at twice that still won't move. So,
Oh, I think is it the search and
I think
rescue?
a lot of the problem is because they sit so long.
Well,
And
the
there's
truck will
always
start.
something that needs doing.
Okay,
So long.
point taken, and that means that who's ever taken care of these vehicles needs to drive it around the loop every once in a while.
Well, yeah, go out and start them and let them warm up.
Yeah.
I guess that'd be up to the, being their sitting there.
So I had talked with Sarah about that specific thing, and I said, well, you know, it'd be simple for us to just take it every day down to the post office and back. Cause we have to go get our mail every day, so somebody's gotta go down every day.
That way, at least we know what the other, these other 6 months and months, and I know the battery, you know, to jump anyway, but I just don't wanna put a whole bunch of money into something.
So
I
you-
know you wanna take it, but you might have to take a cut on the things, cause I don't wanna put a bunch of money in that car just so you can ride up. these things.
Oh, well, maybe we'll have the new by then.
You might, if you're nice.
Would you rush it?
I mean, when I get the invoice to say, go ahead and pay this, Becky, I'll make the check as soon as it happens.
So we're gonna make a motion to get rid of the rest of them?
It's a silent bid.
The sheriff's license, that needs to go through.
Search and rescue.
We need to talk to him and then that, well, the pickup, he said that they use that to haul stuff, but. I
Oh,
just
that's
don't wanna start all of a sudden throwing garbage from the back of Brandon Ridge to haul to the dump if there's that pickup.
Yeah.
haul stuff. We need to take it down to Bob's auto. We see the one guy, he's got that computer and stuff, I know what's wrong.
That pickup,
Yeah, if Steve can't fix it, take it down to Bob's, and, cause it's a good pickup. I don't wanna see it just, yeah,
Yeah,
nothing.
and that's kind of. The company truck,
Alright.
that solid waste used it, right, and then it was,
that rig was at the road crew, and when they took the truck that we had, they got us. That,
Anyway, so moving on, I guess that's, I'll take care of this other, I'll get a hold of him. We'll see what we can do, or see what we can say. and, all that go and price and food.
yeah, they have to paying right up front, there should be some kind
Well, the
of.
big one, then that government, we get that. Anyway, I'm. Make a motion adjourned.
Sold, going, gone.
Any public comment? And none on favor.
I,
Alright.